Okay. Okay. Come on now. Let me try that again. I don't know what happened to my audio there. I didn't want to really offend anyone. I just had a lot to get off my chest there, and I figured it was best I said it all while I was muted. Thank you guys for the heads up on that. This happened on a Discord call too. Something randomly reset with my mic. So anyway, sorry about that. Truly slop. Truly. What I was saying that whole time, though, is thank you for being here. Very excited to sit down and talk some gaming news with y'all. We're going to talk about a lot happened in the world of Xbox. We're going to talk Halo. We're going to talk about that Chris Hayes interview. I meant to get to the Chris Hayes interview like days ago. I don't know how I didn't jump on that immediately for Matty Slop, so I apologize. And then we're going to talk about Wolverine to wrap things up. Anyway, thanks for being here. And now that you can hear me, you really know how grateful I am. Had to pay extra for the mic unlock like GTA 6. Yeah, you have to, guys, to get the audio, you have to become a premium member here on the Mr. Matty Plays experience. You have to pay for, we have our slop tier, and then we have our prime cut tier. That's where you get audio. Otherwise, you get to just watch my mouth move. Pause. Anyway, y'all, thanks for being here. Let's catch up with the chat a little bit. Yeah, Uncharted Wolf's here. Like a moth to the flame. I can't help myself with this title format, dude. Me and titles that have so and that, those types of things. Just a little build up. Like a moth to the flame. Anyway, let me thank all the early birds. Now y'all can hear me. Zensha, thanks for hopping in early. Mojave Knight, always great to see you. Darth Raven is here. Tactical Wolf is here. Dual Singularity here, as well as Turtle Deity. Thanks, guys, for hanging out early. I appreciate y'all. Nurse Mayo in the building. Love that Nurse Mayo called our Elder Scrolls video yesterday wholesome. I love getting comments like that, man. I got to say, those are the ones that live with me a little bit longer. I'm glad I brought something that might have been just genuinely enjoyable to watch. I don't know how much you care about the things I'm talking about, but it genuinely was aw, this idiot is so happy. That's cool. Anyway, thanks for everyone being here. I appreciate you. Shout out to Ezekiel for becoming a member. He says, yo, Matty, do you think Elder Scrolls 6 will be able to overcome the stealth archer is the way? I've been thinking about this. I think maybe by proxy of the fact that they just need to overhaul their melee combat. You can't do they haven't done all the games they've done since Skyrim they've included melee, but the primary way to kill enemies has been guns. There hasn't, Fallout has some decent melee stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's some funny melee weapons, but with a medieval game, barring technological evolution that give you can you imagine a Dwemer musket or something like that? That would be sick. I'm still studying the lore. I don't know if that's possible. Relax. I'm still studying the lore. But otherwise, I think if you're going to lean into a medieval setting, you need to upgrade your melee combat. So I think, build-wise, I don't know if that'll make it better in a stealth archer. But, we'll see if they can at least make other playstyles really cool. Can you imagine how powerful a mage could be in TES 6? That'd be awesome. It's crazy how 8 asterisk got me dreaming this big, bro. It's crazy. JCMC is king. Thank you so much for your super chat. He says, best intro we never heard. I know, you guys missed some bars. I was cooking when I opened this up. I'm sorry you had to miss it. You should have paid up. Josh, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Turtle Deity's kind of cooking. Stealth Archer is just fun. There is a level of just, we don't need to nerf it. We just need to make others better, I think. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to make such a loud noise. My Robex, this is the lemon berry acai smoothie. That shit is so good. So good. And a windshield smudge got us acting up. Dude, I'm telling you, man, people, I know people are going to get upset with me for speculating. They're like, you were so mad at them with the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. And I said this. I said, that's not going to stop me from tracking what the hell's going on. And I love speculating. And I love getting involved in the lore shit with the community. I learned when I was away from it, and then I was able to come back to it, how happy it makes me. And I'm done letting people tell me what to do. My audience enjoys it. I enjoy it. So fuck it. Let's do it. But man, I am pumped to dive into Elder Scrolls lore. I was thinking, I'm curious what you guys think of the idea. I tossed it into the comment section as a pin yesterday, because I was a little nervous about yesterday's video. I'm like, this is the first time I'm going a little aggressive into Elder Scrolls lore, so I need to like really check myself, make sure like there's no mistakes. And there was one mistake that I appreciate the comment on that. I had to cut it out, but I pinned a comment saying like, hey, since I'm kind of new to like the deep dive, like the real deep shit, like I'm just here for the very basic adventure, if you will. Would it be interesting to watch, you know, some more retrospective reviews that really get into the lore? Like if I called the video, like I played Morrowind for the lore in 2026 or something like that, and just did that for Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. I'd probably do it backwards. Like I'd probably start with Skyrim, Oblivion, and then Morrowind. I don't know. I'm thinking of what would appeal most as well. But yeah, let me know if y'all would be interested in that, because I don't know. I won't be able to get to it until later this year, but it was an idea. I was like, I could scribble that down if enough people are interested. So yeah, just let me know on that, because I had some fun diving into that. Time to start the Fudge Batty channel. No, they're the undisputed kings. They got it. They got it going on, man. I don't want to be a lore king either, because I feel like with the second you fuck something up, it's like, you know, a massive debate, a big problem. Laurelwind. I like that, Qlib. I like that. I recently played Stellar Blade for the lore. Did you, Emmett? Are you sure about that? You sure about that? Tez lore community is fantastic. Everyone starts somewhere. It's fun to learn alongside you and witness the enjoyment. Yeah, I was really happy with how like embracing people were. Like the top comment on our stream was just like watching Maddie like get it was cool. And that made me really happy, because like Fallout lore was like, I dealt with a lot of snobs, dude. Like it took a while to get some respect in that community. Even then, I'm not like a wizard with it. Generally speaking, I know stuff, but like I think about like the TV show and how like when we were researching episode 1 in real time, like I forgot Mr. House had a brother until like we started researching for that episode, and like that led us down a cool rabbit hole. But anyway, let's get into some of these super chats here. Glad you guys are interested in the idea. Hey Maddie, question for you. It's good to see you, Notlock. Do you think Outer Worlds 2 will get its DLC before or after the new Fallout? I was thinking of replaying it after new DLC, but if it will take a while, I might replay it sooner. Well, Chris Avallone said the new DLC will be in September, and he seems pretty tapped into what's going on Obsidian. I mean, he did work there for a long while and was pretty high up the chain. So I would take his word for it, especially because like he was correct about, say, Avowed 2. So if it is that close by, I would just wait. I would just wait at least until, like, I don't know, Gamescom or something, to see if there's like an announcement there, or if there's an announcement in September. I'd at least give it to the end of September and see what happens there. And then go for it. Give it a replay, provided it looks good. All right. Hilarious. Thank you for your super chat. What's your favorite Elder Scrolls race, either in-game or lore? Thanks to the amazing content and Slop, of course, my pleasure. So I can't answer really well, I guess, on the pretenses of lore. But right now, I would say always, I always bounce between elves. As a kid, I really loved the Dark Elves, and I still gravitate to them, but I know they're more like magic build oriented. So I typically love the Wood Elf, because go figure, you know, I like my stealth archer build. Yeah, I'm one of those guys, man. So I always liked my Wood Elf, but I'm always bouncing between the elves. Like I think I was a High Elf when I did Oblivion Remastered. And I just did a Redguard Strength build for Oblivion Remastered on Switch too, and that was pretty fun. But I always am playing as an elf. And this was before like even Skyrim, where it really popularized the idea of like stealth archer. I just played as an elf and ran around as like a warrior. I love the idea of battle mage. So that was always my go-to preferred style, even before I was considering like racial benefits. But I've just always been an elf guy. I love how the elves look. So yeah, that always got me going. But that's also like, that's been me since I was a kid. Like when I played Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance and you had the 3 starting characters, like I always picked the elf. So yeah, that was my personal favorite. Divinity Original Sin 2. I picked the elf because you could eat body parts and consume memories. Like I think that shit's so cool. Elves are always the coolest. All right. Zencha. It feels so good to be gaslighted by Straw Zelnick about GTA 6. Lock stuff behind the $100 version, then proclaim it's doing better than $80. Yeah, I mean, we don't have the numbers, right? So he could be right, could be wrong. I would hope he's not lying about that, just because I think he was talking to investors at the time. But it wouldn't surprise me, dude. I mean, again, the repercussions are what I worry about. Like, a lot of people are already sold on GTA 6. They already had the money set aside. Like, of course they're gonna go, okay, I'm gonna buy. Of course, I'm gonna be with this for like a fucking decade plus. Like, I'm going to give it I'm gonna get all the content. This is gonna be worth it. People have already committed the time in their head, so they're ready to spend that much. So I'm not too surprised by it in the end of the day. Like, I know for a lot of people, they're like, whoa. Obviously, the shitty part is, like, the best version is $100. But yeah, like, you know, at least for me, I'm not particularly stunned. I'm just worried about other companies who are going to do the same thing. And then it just becomes, like, worse and worse. Invite Fudge Muppet or Epic Nate to do a video or podcast. That's a good idea. Yeah. Once I brush up, because right now I couldn't have a conversation about Elder Scrolls lore. Fallout, I could hold my own, but Elder Scrolls, I could not hold my own, for sure. I'd need that wiki up on the side. Big time. I mean, it's also very hard. Like, the thing I always was apprehensive about getting into Elder Scrolls lore, but now I kind of can't help myself, is because I commit so much of my brain to, like, one franchise and, like, a Fallout, and I already struggle at times to keep up with all the things that happen there, because there's just so much. We're adding in Elder Scrolls, which is even more, and it involves oftentimes games I've never or probably never will play, like Arena or Redguard. It's like, holy shit, dude. It's a big commitment, so I'm gonna give myself some grace. All right. Timur, good to see you, man. Another Todd Howard Terminator game, yay or nay? And do you think we'll get Fallout / Elder Scrolls crossovers with other Xbox franchises? Good to see you again, dude. I don't think Todd does another Terminator game. I think he is on a very specific road right now. And I don't think there's any deviating. I don't think there's any detours. You took your, as they call it, creative detour with Starfield. You got that out of your system. It's time to focus on the goods now for the next 10 years. If he's still in the industry for the next 10 years. So I'm going to say no Terminator game. As for Fallout and Elder Scrolls crossovers with other Xbox franchises, yeah, I imagine they're going to try to platform Elder Scrolls and Fallout, but in ways that it makes sense. You know, I don't think they're going to throw like Master Chief Armor in Fallout 76. But could you get away with like a creation mod, sort of like what King Ath Creations did for Doom? Where they built a whole creation about Doom in Starfield. Like, yeah, I'm sure they could figure something out like that for Halo, even. I'm sure they could do that, for sure. But beyond that, I mean, it's going to be very picky, I'd say. What's going on? Scotch Rice, thanks for your super chat. Yo, Matty, you need to check out Stalker 2 Back to the Zone Update 2.0 trailer. It's looking sweet. Yeah, I did peep it out. I am looking forward to scoping that one out. I think, finally, the game's in a spot where, like, we can really give it some serious time. I played a good amount of it when it first came out, but then it was becoming increasingly obvious it was unfinished, and I never gave them grief for it. Like, they made the game in like pretty impossible conditions, so I was just rooting for them. The game's come a long way. You know, A-Life's been updated a bunch of times. This was another like significant patch for it. The new weapons look sick. The enemy behavior looks really good. They've added new stories. They're adding a new expansion. Like, there's a lot that's gone into this game over the last 2 years. So I'm really excited to dive back in. I think it looks really good. Good shout out on that. Dragonborn and Killer Instinct. Don't tease me with that. I absolutely love that idea. I think that's a really fun one. Killer Instinct was such a great game too, man. I saw all the opportunity. I used to say that could be like Xbox, like when I was like really young, I was like, this could be Xbox's Smash Bros. Because they brought in Arbiter, they brought in Battletoads, and I was like, oh man, they could really start to bring in. I mean, at that time they didn't have, to be clear, the Dragonborn, but I'm saying that I remember at the time thinking, like, you know, oh, it's time to bring in someone from Gears. I don't think they ever did that, right? That would have been so cool to see. I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but Bethesda said on Twitter, updating Fallout 4 and Skyrim again. Vault Boy and Smash. Yeah, Vault Boy and Smash came really close. We almost got it. Like, we got the me customization. Nothing crazy. What did Bethesda post here? Let's take a look, see. On Tuesday, August 18th, a patch will be coming to Fallout 4 focusing on general creations improvements. As a precaution prior to these updates, we encourage players to log into your game save if you haven't done so, or manually save your load order. Once your load order is saved, you'll be able to re-download your... Blah, 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 blah. We're also working on a Skyrim update with additional details to come soon. Skyrim update. Oh, God. Oh, God. Another one. Oh, God. That's scary. Good looks, Chad. Thanks for giving me the heads up on that. The Sage of Six Gats. Good to see you, dude. What about the Matty lore? What was the moment you realized you could make a YouTube a full-time career? Oh, man. I mean, I'm happy to get into my lore whenever. You'd think it would be Fallout 4. That's an interesting story, actually, because with Fallout 4, I remember wanting to take... That was 2015, yeah. So I remember going into the launch of that game, and the year before that, so I graduated high school in 2013, and after that, I was like one of those kids who, like, I despised school, and so I really wanted to take some time off, and I tried to convince my parents to let me, like, take a year off and go for YouTube full-time then. To their credit, I think they made the right call and said, no, you have to at least try college. And, you know, I went to a community college, so I didn't like overcommit a lot of money or anything to it. So I was all covered there. They were like, you have to try. And definitely old school way of doing it. But I went to college. I went for, I mean, again, I was going to community college. I was very undecided on what I wanted to do. So I literally did like general studies, associates, like the most bottom of the barrel shit, like nothing fucking... By that, I mean, like, I'm not going to talk down on myself, but, like, I wasn't aspiring. I was like, let me clear all the crap out of the way, so if I decide in these next couple of years I want to do something else, I have the crap out of the way, and I can try to focus on whatever that major may be, and whatever supports that major. So that was 2014, and then into 2015... So in 2014, I got invited to my first event. That was Ubisoft. They invited me to a Far Cry 4 capture event, and they held it in this like warehouse somewhere. It was like really like Ubisoft has had their events in some sketchy places. There was one time I went to one of their E3 events, and they had it like near the homeless district in LA, and it was like nighttime, and there were people like surrounding the place. It was getting a little fucking sketchy. But yeah, so that was like the first time I believed it could be something. I was like, oh man, like I got out to San Francisco. I was able to take my best friend with me because I was afraid to travel by myself. And I just told Ubisoft that. I was like, I've never traveled like this before, let alone by myself. Like I'd love to have someone with me to help me with content. And so they got us out there. So I've always been very grateful to Ubisoft for kind of cracking open that door and getting me to like believe. That was the same year I got my first review code. That was Saints Row 4. And I was unbelievably stoked about that. I'd say it's the first time I believed. And then the first time I thought I could make it full time didn't come till much later, because then I just kind of kept chipping away. And the idea was like, well, I don't have to get like a part-time job somewhere. I'm just going to kind of keep chipping away at YouTube. And if I could at least have it do that and pay a few bills, that would be cool. And by Fallout 4, the summer where things were really growing, that was at a point where, I was like jumping for joy. I was like, I couldn't believe it, man. You guys know I was firing up Fallout 4 videos left and fucking right. And come that fall, when it was time to go back to college, I, showed my parents my channel, and I said, I'd like to try to go full time with YouTube. And at that point, it was more of a debate because they were still trying to say no. But I was like, I can make it, like, I'm getting great views. I can make a living off of this. And so the compromise, I had to get my grandma involved. The compromise was, as long as I finish my degree, I'm sorry, no, I'm a step ahead. So they eventually caved, and they were like, okay, we'll let you do it for one semester. You get to take one semester off and be a full-time creator. And so that was like a surreal moment as my friends are like going to school. I'm like working on content. Being in that moment in my life, I'll always remember that, dude. That was a really, like, as people around me were grinding in particular different pockets of their life and working really hard, I was just doing something extremely unorthodox. That was like, I remember just that being almost out of body, but I went for it. And then I wanted to keep going, but my parents told me no. And so out of respect for them, I was like, okay. And I remember talking to my grandma. This is where Mimi gets involved. And she said, you can go full time so long as you complete your degree. So I have a video about it. Come 2016, once I got my very bottom of the barrel degree, I went full time after that to just, at that point, Fallout 4 was over. Nothing was really happening. It was just more like, this is a part-time job, if anything. Like, and I was just hoping it would grow into more, and it did. So I got very blessed with all of that. So yeah, that's kind of the story. It was sort of like just kept working at it. It's a reminder to respect your parents, respect your elders, that sort of thing. So, thanks for the question, dude. I appreciate it. Played Oblivion and Fast was available right away, which ruined the game for me. I hate traveling the land, but fast travel breaks the fast travel being available in Oblivion across all the holds. Yeah. Would Starfield have benefited from restricted fast travel? I get what you're saying about Oblivion. It's a little weird that you can just immediately zip to all the holds. I love how Skyrim's like, no, get on the cart. Get on the cart, damn it. Do I think Starfield would have benefited from that? I don't think so. Because that would have forced you to, I mean, it already has pretty limited travel if you don't have an upgraded ship with like an upgraded fuel system. And I already found that a little bit hard to fight through. Mithu, thank you for becoming a member, by the way. Appreciate you. So I don't know if it would have, I don't think there was any fixing the travel in Starfield outside of something more seamless. Splicer, yes, that is the video. Officially a full-time YouTuber for good. Yep, that was the video. I remember at that time too. I mean, the other thing I really struggled with during that era of my life is I still have a lot of people who fucking hate me, but you know, I feel a little bit more comfortable in my own skin where I know more people love me, and that makes me really happy. I'm really grateful about that. But back then, I mean, it still lives with me. There was just a tremendous like dislike for me because I was just a guy who really liked Bethesda. I felt I experienced really young what it was like to just love something or love a type of game, and kind of like what people talk about on Twitter all the time now, like, bro, why does everyone just like constantly hate? And I'm like, that was me for like my whole teenage years. Like I got hated on. Not only because I was like an excited fanboy, but I'm like, certainly there's worse fucking things that you can do in this world. But I remember when I announced I was going full time, there were like a few comments that were like, oh God, like, I'm just like, what the fuck are you here for then, dude? Scotch Rice, thank you again, dude. He says, me again, your thoughts on this? Imagine Bethesda Game Studios released a DLC for Skyrim that set up the story for Elder Scrolls 6, similar to The Witcher 3, and how it'll be doing that for Witcher 4. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing I was pushing for with Oblivion. I was saying that Oblivion Remaster could benefit from some new DLC, and now here comes The Witcher 3 doing that. And Bethesda, and like, there was three that could have at one point got away from it, but that's because they were like real pioneers of DLC. Bethesda Game Studios, CD Projekt Red, and I would have thrown BioWare in there at one point. Like, these are three companies that could have, I mean, the reason people were interested in what was originally Dreadwolf for Dragon Age was because of the Trespasser DLC that they did for, it wasn't anything in base game Inquisition. Everyone always talked about Trespasser and like why that's why that Dreadwolf was going to be so exciting. So I do think that DLC can play like a real significant factor in story setup, and I would love to see Bethesda do this. I think that would be a great way to spend some resources. I'd be a huge fan of this idea. Like, actually new Skyrim content that's not fan made or something like that. Not just a re-release, but actual new content. That'd be sick. And especially, I think they can do it because, dude, I mean, 65 million copies of Skyrim out in the wild, and I mean, that's plenty. Get people caught up. Give them some new Elder Scrolls. Thoughts on desired role-playing elements for Elder Scrolls 6? I would say, I think the build crafting is pretty solid. I have fun with the gameplay experience. So I would say, I think it just comes down to like story choice, reactivity, that sort of stuff where I feel an impact on the world that I'm shaping, in more ways than just killing enemies and clearing camps. Like, it's very simple stuff here, but like, I think it's the agency of the gameplay and the agency of the story are on two different levels. And I think they need to get more even. I'd like that personally. Any shot of you playing Zero Company on stream would be down to watch you build your clone platoon. No chance, unfortunately. I'll be traveling during the time the game comes out. I'm going to be late to this game too. There's already Dear God, there's like 5 fucking different things. Like this is, I know I took it, when I say take it easy this year, I mean like I made a deliberate effort to not burn myself out, to not review every fucking thing under the sun, to not like chase every single game. And I know that because now I'm in a pocket where there's been a lot of good things that I know my audience in particular is really interested in, that I'm jumping on for opportunity. And it's like 4 or 5 fucking different things between previews and reviews, which is great. Like I'm not complaining. But it's a lot, dude. And so until I get back, I'm not playing Zero Company. Cause again, there's just too many games to review right now that need my attention. And then games to preview as well, throughout the month. So there'll be a lot of good shit. Like a lot. I call myself MrMattyPlays, and I do a lot of playing. But boy, are we playing come like the last few weeks of this month. I mean, it's going to be a lot. So I do look forward to that. But I think, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make any like coverage on Zero Company. It's just, it's a lot of stuff that y'all are going to be, I'm not just saying it, like you guys are going to be really pumped. But, just unfortunately is a casualty in the content cycle. It's again, a really good problem to have. Definitely something that, when I get the moment, I'm in, but I cannot wait to play that. So it's kind of like a benefit because when I do get back, that should be my focus. Ideally, I really have to be like tight with my schedule this next week and a half. It's getting down to the crunch time for me. Hey, dude. Hi from Brazil. Thank you, Raphael, for your generous super chat. Good to see you. Do you like Fire Emblem? I've been playing since the Game Boy Advance and loving it. I had slept on this franchise. Oh, dude. I mean, I love Fire Emblem. Yeah, like I can't say I've been playing since the Game Boy Advance, though. I think if I played this game as a kid, it would have fucking killed me. But dude, I really am so excited for Fortune's Weave. I only got halfway through because I had a meeting, but I was watching Skill Up's preview of Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and it really got me stoked, dude. Like, really convincing preview. 30 plus hours for a preview window too is awesome. So I'm very stoked about that. I just bought for my retro collection Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. That's one I want to play as well. And yeah, I've just been like, I think it's just because strategy games are in the air. We were just talking about Zero Company. We're talking about Fire Emblem. Like, there's a ton of shit going on, right? So dude, just honestly super stoked for this one, and really looking forward to whatever Fortune's Weave brings to the table, because it looks like a much more refined, better Three Houses, which is a game I'm very critical of. I'm very, very critical of Three Houses personally. So, and I didn't play Engage. I skipped out on Engage. I hated the character design for that game. It would have fucking drove me absolutely insane. James, hi, nice to see you, man. Any news on a new BioShock game? I feel like it's been in development forever as well. The last update we got was the official one. That Rod Ferguson was like the head of the BioShock franchise, and so I don't know if anything at all is going on with it. I would just love to see Take-Two get one of BioShock or Judas out the door. I need a BioShock experience of some kind. So that would be pretty sweet. But no news that I'm aware of, unfortunately. Just a lot, and I mean a lot of Judas updates that have been coming out, where I don't know. I feel like one day it'll get a, like a release date soon, I hope. Colgate Hero. Yeah, exactly. Baklava. Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people do like Engage. Like, I had a friend who just played it for the gameplay, and I need to, like, Fire Emblem is so character driven. I need to like how these characters look, and I specifically the JRPG trope, as someone who plays a lot of JRPGs, the trope that I hate the most is the, little kids that are actually 500 years old, and how I remember my friend telling me about it, like, Engage has a couple of characters. It was all the things in JRPG style character design that I can't stand, like the random colors, the kid-like heroes, all that shit. So, yeah. Sorry. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer on that. Did you order, it's good to see you, Chief Adam, did you order the Gears E-Day controller? I also have Wolverine locked in day one through GameFly, so I get to enjoy the game without giving Sony money. Good alternative pathway there. Huh. I was thinking about that. We're going to talk Wolverine a little bit later. I was thinking about if I buy this because I want to play it to compare it to X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is a game I know really well. Pardon me. And that is an interesting workaround. Did I order the Gears controller, though? No, I did not. I already have too many controllers. I was showing the other stream. I have my Starfield controller, which is my go-to for PC. I've got my Fallout one, which is like my favorite one. That is for my Xbox Series. I've got like I remember Xbox gifted me a Redfall controller, which I hold on to in case like a buddy's over. I still have my OG Series controller, so it's just like I don't need a fifth controller. Mithu, good to see you. Sorry, Maddie, a bit low on cash. If you're low on cash, guys, like please don't super chat. Like it's really cool. I just want y'all to hang. It's cool. Like the conversation is what matters here. But I'm doing good, dude. Thank you. It's really good to see you. And don't worry about super chatting. I appreciate it, but thank you. T. Christos. Do you notice a significant difference in views or engagement when you wait and don't make content during release date /week? It depends on the game. And that's because it depends on my audience. For example, my audience is you guys are very RPG driven. So there were games that I was super late to on a final verdict, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I don't know how I would have done if I covered all this at its like launch period and gave you like a whole in-depth review then. But when my final verdict video kind of popped off for that, I was like, oh, I waited a whole 10 months and it still did well. So there are times like that where you kind of just abide by your own schedule. So it really depends. Generally speaking, Retro Rebound, we're always a couple of days late, like, the game will come out and then we'll do our thing about it maybe a few days later, whether it be a retrospective or a comparison video, that kind of thing. We're always a little bit late. So I think as you grow, there's a little bit less demand to play ball with embargo timing. Like my new thing I've been experimenting with is, you'll sometimes get embargoes and they're like, it lifts at 6 a.m. And a lot of people post immediately at 6 a.m. And I've just started to realize, well, most of my audience is active at like 12 p.m. and on. So why don't I just post it then? It's still the same day. But you may be missing out on new searches. Again, it depends. It really depends. I think it's usually good to be in proximity is what I like to say. So you don't have to rush it. You can kind of do your own thing while still being relevant. Because at the end of the day, it's my job to serve you. I'm here to give you information that you need in a timely manner. So to me, just pissing off and taking my time for like a month and a half or whatever, I don't think really benefits anyone. Ian, thank you so much for your super chat. Just got Lord of the Rings War in the North. Zog is pure rage bait. Loving the game though. Dude, I fucking love this game. I love that it's had such a resurgence with people. Like, I love that they're so pumped for it to be back. Like, there was a ton of people fired up about Lord of the Rings remasters as well. It looks like we're going to be getting a lot of Lord of the Rings games. Like, there was a leak about the next Lego game, and they said it's going to be a WB property, of course. And then Marvel isn't happening for a while, which is a shame, honestly. But since they just did Batman and the way they did Batman, I'm thinking I thought the next thing they were going to do is Harry Potter, but apparently a rumor suggesting it's not that. I bring all this up because I think they're going to do it for Lord of the Rings, and that would be really awesome to get like a Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight style Lord of the Rings game, or, going through Hobbit, going through Lord of the Rings, just all of that together, like a mixture of that kind of Skywalker saga ideology, but also like mixing in the highlights. I think that would be fucking awesome, dude. So they're going to probably do that. Aspire, no doubt, is going to remaster more games, as they already promised. We got the Lord of the Rings game that's going to be coming on the way from Warhorse. There's so many things happening with Lord of the Rings. So I'm excited, man. I'm very happy that it's coming back to gaming. Free Run is awesome, though. True. Truer words have never been spoken. We love Free Run. I love its pace. So good. Lego Dune would be interesting. I was talking to Locke about it. He said Lego Game of Thrones. I feel like Game of Thrones is like, who am I talking about? I was about to say Game of Thrones is too like, R-rated, but I mean it is, but more than Lord of the Rings. But Lord of the Rings has some pretty gory moments for sure. Meatballs in the building. Good to see you, man. Got to get you back on One Piece. I think there's a fat chance of that. I'm accepting in this stage of my life. I'm accepting where I'm at and just, again, my shortcomings. Ay. Yeah, Warhorse Lord of the Rings is going to be sick, though. I'm very pumped for that. Xbox Outlier, another handheld. I got a lot of RPGs I want to play that aren't on Switch too. Xbox Ally's got a pretty good price tag for it right now before it jumps again. I do like my Steam Deck, but I think you could go with the Xbox Ally right now. I do think they've provided enough updates for it where it's a lot better. Retired Maddie will love One Piece. Yeah. I don't know if I'm ever retiring. I think I just spit. I love what I do. I love gaming. I love being involved in gaming. And forget about it all as an old man. Yeah, that's true, right? Imagine the amount of rewatching I have to do when I'm old and I can't remember shit. I already fucking forget everything. It's going to get worse. Ian, thank you again for your super chat. Watching Full Metal Alchemist with my brother right now for the first time. Do you watch any anime? If so, which ones are the best? Oh, well, I wouldn't say I'm the deep cut anime guy for sure. I definitely have more surface levels than the right word. I don't spend as much time watching anime as I used to. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is great. I'm actually still working on finishing that. And by still working, I mean like I dropped it a while ago and I gotta it used to be my treadmill show. So I gotta pick that back up because now that like the weather's nicer, I'm outside walking. So I'm not in my treadmill in front of a TV in my garage. Free Ren's very, very cozy slice of life, but also like really great animation at times and just excellent writing. Just that first season is really magical. So I'd highly recommend that. If you like eye candy with like, I think pretty endearing characters, Demon Slayer. I've noticed this new, like someone put on Defining Duke, like everything Maddie says about like writing is so true. But then I remember he's like Demon Slayer fan. I'm like, says, when the fuck do we hate Demon Slayer? Like what? Demon Slayer, I think kicks ass. So check that out. Very endearing characters, but also just incredible animation, incredible color usage. Like it's just the most vibrant show. If you like hype shit, JJK. If we're talking OG anime, Death Note's my favorite of all time. Highly, highly recommend Death Note. Throw that in the bin. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard really good things about Monster. That's one I really want to see, but it's kind of in that similar pocket. Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. I love that show. That's a really good one. Another early 2000s anime, but if you like sci-fi, if you like cyberpunk, for example, you'll love Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. Very deep writing on that show. OG Naruto, that's a bona fide classic. Very big time investment, but I fucking love OG Naruto. Just a lot. The thing with anime is there's a lot of good shit. I think. There's always something good coming around. Like the thing that works with anime too is like you'll get a JJK, which I think its storytelling is better from what we've seen in the manga. I'm saying this based off hearsay. Like my best friend has read the manga and has watched the show, so he, I trust his takes because he's put me on some of my favorite shit. By the way, I forgot to mention Attack on Titan. But I think with JJK, it's a good example of a show. What do I keep choking on? Is there something in this acai that's just like tickling my throat? Fuck, man. What was I saying? Oh yeah, just like great fights, great music. Like there are some shows that can get by with that. Solo Leveling is another one of those. I read a lot of Solo Leveling. That is a fucking awesome story. If you like video games, you'll love Solo Leveling. But it's also a really great read. But that's one that like visuals really helped it. I think JJK is another, visuals and animation really help it. So yeah, just the chat's loading up with suggestions, dude. You got so many good places to start. Just don't try to finish them all. That's the mistake I made. Dragon Ball. Love Dragon Ball, of course. Okay, let's see here. What's going on, Scotch? I was about to not read your writing here because I thought it was your old one. Just want to share my opinion. Gears of War E-Day is insanely good. Check out the beta, folks. Agree. Listen to Scotch Rice. This shit's worth your time. Do not sleep on it. JD, thank you for your super chat. Good to see you. Are you excited for Blade Runner 2099 TV series coming later this year? What are your thoughts on Neo Berlin 2087 game that just got revealed? I didn't watch that trailer. I saw it in my sub box and I was like, interesting. As for the Blade Runner TV series, I'm always interested in what's going on with Blade Runner. Always. The screenshots look good. So, we'll see. But I always liked Blade Runner as a movie series. So we'll see if they can make it work for TV. Blade Runner is, specifically Final Cut. Blade Runner is, top 5 movie of all time for me. Blade Runner 2049 is a movie that I really like. I just don't like it as much as the Final Cut of the first one. I just think like the some of the messaging for that story is really good, but a lot of it is kind of sitting in world and what it means for those characters rather than I thought the first Blade Runner was about like what it meant to me. And I like that a lot more. I connect with that a lot more about like humanism and that stuff. It's classic sci-fi shit, really. Because so many things have modeled themselves after Blade Runner. But the TV series, like if it can hit that, sure, fuck it. Like I'd love to have more Blade Runner. I have literally my VCR copy of the OG Blade Runner sitting right there. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on it for sure. Has Bethesda distanced itself from core RPG experiences that chase the infinite play / comfy life sim? People spend insane time in settlement mode. Yeah, I'm sure they recognize that there's a level of engagement that they do acquire through these modes. They keep people hooked and they keep people spending and they keep modders making things, and they're relatively low lift compared to like full-on quests or companions or mechanics that are like, here's a suite of furniture. So I think everyone wins from a business angle. I don't think that was always the plan. Bethesda before settlement mode, like before even, what was it, Hearthfire? Yeah, it's Hearthfire. I always cross it up in my brain with Hearthstone. That's something that like before even then, Bethesda was going a little bit more casual because they thought it was better for their audience. But now that same audience has grown up playing all these games over all these years, and they need to get a little bit more hardcore because those hardcore games are like Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring, who have stuck to their conventions and not gone the opposite way, whereas Starfield and 76 go like way too far into like casual friendly. And I think people would hang around for Fallout if it kicked the shit out of you. Like I think people love Fallout enough, and gamers have matured enough where Fallout would do really well, even if it were like a more hardcore RPG. Same with Elder Scrolls 6. I think people will show up and they will learn it because they love it. You have the benefit of all of that social cachet, so go hard, dude. Why not? So yeah, they distance themselves, but I don't think it's truly about settlement mode. Nowadays, it might be a little bit incentivized by that, but they've been doing it for a while beforehand. Sword of the Stranger is must see. It's anime movie, so low time commitment, animation fire, soundtrack fire. I got Cog to watch it. He enjoyed it. That's when you know. That's when you know. Lithel, good to see you. I wanted to thank you for getting me to try my first Persona game, Persona 3 Reload. The game connected deeply with me and is now a top 5 game. Oh, I cried for 20 minutes when the credits rolled. Next episode, Aegis, and then P5. Well. I'm glad it gave you a good cry. That's, I think, what Persona does super well. It gave me a good cry, they're just super impactful journeys. They really nail the finish. And if you loved that, I think it only gets better. 4, I like more than 3, and 5 Royal. If you're going to play 5, make sure it's 5 Royal, and make sure you look up the prerequisites to getting the Royal ending. Because that is the thing that got me into like game development. It completely changed my life. And then if you love that, then you've got Metaphor. And if you love that, by the time you're done with that, you got Persona 6. There's so much good shit from Atlas, dude. Atlas always lands it for me. So I'm glad you enjoyed, and it's my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in and listening and giving it a shot. I'm super happy to hear how much it impacted you. All right. What a fucking username here. Why do these studios chase a non-existent audience instead of doing what works, which are male power fantasy, slaying dragons, and defending the empire? Because developers want to try different things. That's, it's that simple, dude. No question, just money. Thank you, Nerf Ninja. Death Note is goated. We'd love to see that. Any Death Note love, super appreciated here. Let's see here. Sage of the Six Gats again. Oh, he's got a hot take. Hang on. And we got drawn out in the building. Here we go. If Breath of the Wild wasn't Nintendo or Zelda, it wouldn't be so highly regarded. Maddie, please educate me on what makes it so good. I feel like it's a game I've played before. Interesting. I'm actually not probably the best person to ask because I'm not like this diehard defender of Zelda. Like I've never really given a strong fuck about Zelda outside of like a couple from my childhood, like Twilight Princess, you know, which I just have like memories of playing because it was like the first Wii game I could move my Wiimote like this and like actually swing my sword, and I thought that was super cool. But also Link's Awakening is the main one I loved. So with Breath of the Wild, I mean, I loved it because of how interactive the world was. Like you can climb on anything. There were secrets everywhere. It was just, it gave you like, your brain was the limits of the game. So if I wanted to connect like a power conduit and I laid down a bunch of metal objects, that would, and it was like in this puddle that had lightning in it. And I just laid all these swords down around the room and I brought it to like a power conduit. It would actually power it up. So the game just had like a deep consideration on its systems. And I thought that was really fun. I don't know. Like it was one of the few Zelda games to really, you know, grab hold of me. But I didn't feel that way with Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom was a really good time, but I fell off of it like pretty early. You know, Breath of the Wild, I finished. I did all the boss fights, which I thought were really fun. But, you know, I think the reason Breath of the Wild is celebrated is because it's a game that gives you very limitless freedom. Like, you walk up the top of that fucking hill and you just go anywhere, dude. It's an iconic step-out moment. Like, it's a really fantastic game. Like, I don't think there was much like Breath of the Wild until that game came, and then like here was, you know, Genshin Impact and all these other games that you know, Immortals Phoenix Rising, all these others, bro, that just showed up to kind of clone it. So its influence is strong, and I think fair. Do I think there's a Nintendo buff to it? Sure, Zelda's beloved, but it's also like a sign of how much Zelda can evolve since it first began. It's pretty crazy, you know. Okay. Let's see here. Nitram writes, too much content farm engagement through negativity. We love games and are ill-served if we end up hating what we love. How do you balance it? I guess I would just say, like, frankly, I mean, Drawn Out actually just said it in chat, which is like, part of loving it is like fighting a little bit, dude. Like, it is a little, like, I don't like to, you know, I try to be very, I'm like overly conscious, I think, sometimes about how my channel looks when you click on the video tab. And if there's like a lot of just, you know, anger, I try to be very cognizant of that and put an effort in to balance it, but it has to be real, you know? And we do, as an industry, go through these tough times where, like, the last 2 years, there have been these slap on the wrist moments where it's like, what the, no, like, you know, I think of WB Games, like, that was a big crash out for me. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, you're fucking terrible at managing these franchises, like, unacceptably bad. So I think about that. Of course, Bethesda and the way, like, it's just the reality that, like, there's a certain point you hit where you realize, like, I understand we're numbers on a spreadsheet, but we're not free money, and you need to stop treating us that way. So part of the love of the game is, like, people view it as negativity, but, like, that criticism, I don't think you're saying it shouldn't be heard, but it, like, sometimes it does need to be pounded away at, because what we have learned is, you know, everyone said with Sony, right? Oh, physical games aren't going to matter because everyone's going to get mad for a week and then they're going to go away and they're going to go mad at something else. But no, people are still fucking pissed about that, dude. It's still constantly hounding in Sony's social replies, their YouTube comment section. You can see it's getting taken out on Wolverine, which, you know, looks fine. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It looks fine. But, like, people are, like, that's a lightning rod now. We're like, fuck Sony. And, like, that's the compounding effect. And, like, people aren't letting up because they've realized, like, if we just let you go, you'll just keep going and doing whatever the fuck you want. And at the end of the day, all that matters is money. And I think people are cognizant of that, and it frustrates them. So there are these streaks where, like, even I probably come across exceedingly negative. I try my best not to, but that's why I have, to me, the balancing force, like, how do I work around it? I have Retro Rebound. I do. And so for me, I have a really good time talking about things I love, and even the critical conversations. Like we put one up today that was about looking at like Bully and looking at Agefield High, Rock the School. And yeah, it's just like, you know, these are two insane video games. Let's have some fun with it. The energy is just a different feel there. So that's how I balance it. I take a lot of pressure off myself that way because I know I'll get my positivity in. And as long as people track my content, they'll see the balance. And you can definitely, and then for me, I don't worry about the people who don't watch my shit, who go like, oh, like they take a screenshot of my video tab. They're like, oh, look at what he's posting last week. I'm like, okay, go look at my other channels. It's like, we're doing good, dude. We're perfectly fine. So I think that's how I balance it out. And then also like, I am a glass half full guy. So I think for me, the last balancing force is when I go full send rant, like I always think about my WB Games video, I think it means something because I'm not like that all the time. There are a lot of YouTubers that I watch that are like that all the fucking time. And it's like, dude, you're fucking miserable. Like, you are miserable. Yes, the industry sucks, but you are miserable because you're like this all the time. Not just about one issue or two or three, but everything is a battle for you. Everything is a war. And it's like, what a tiring person to be around. Not because you dare to speak for your values, but because everything's a war. And for me, maybe it's just it's the environment I grew up in. Picking and choosing your battles, I think, is the best way around. So for me, raging at everything that I find annoying doesn't really, I think, get the message across because the thing I want is to be heard. I want these developers to come to my channel and be able to like hear the critique and not just look at the thumbnails, look at the titles and be like, oh, he's just blowing everyone out, dude. Like he's just fucking everyone up. You know, I think there's a level of like having that uncomfortable conversation where it's like, yeah, sometimes I've got to like, you got to hear you got to hear the music. But so I think that's part of the balance too, is like, just, again, I didn't understand. Wait, what did you say, Drawn Out? I didn't know how well Retro Rewind did until yesterday. It's not easy to build a totally separate brand and keep it going like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of like, you give your own audience an alternative, and then like also just talk about a completely different thing, you know, where it's just like people who don't want to talk about modern games. Like for me, a lot of times I don't want to. It's like, cool, I'm going to go talk about something old now. So yeah, I'm fucking ranting at this point, but yeah, dude, I think being critical is important because you have to give a fuck. If you're not critical to some extent, I think the people who are like, just shut up and dribble, shut up and enjoy your shit. I think they're well-meaning. I just think it's a bad idea because you're going to get fucked over, you know, but I think there's a way to deliver that criticism without being a piece of shit. And that's what I try to do. That's the simple way of putting it. Again, I want to be heard. And I know for me, like when someone's screaming in my fucking face, brain turns off. I'm just like, all right, dude, like till you simmer out, then we'll talk. All right. Good question. I guess I had a lot to say on that. Dandy Guy in Space, thank you for your super chat. Speaking on Halo spinoffs, what do you think about a third-person action adventure game starring the Didact? Dude, I'd fucking take anything. How about that? I would take fucking anything. You want to talk about me being miserable? I would take fucking anything for Halo right now. Anything that's not Halo Studios related. I would take anything. You want to make a Sergeant Johnson campaign? Sure. You want to make a fucking spin-off where you play as the aliens only? I fucking sure. Whatever. You want to make a game about the Endless? Sure. As long as when I look at that box art and I see published by Xbox, developed by not Halo Studios, I'm in. Yeah, dude, sure. I'm in. Oh, man, I'm so sad. It's empty. Let me turn on my fan real quick. It's getting hot in here. This is the one room in the house that doesn't have air conditioning. It's pretty tough. Oh, let's see here. JD, thank you for your super chat. Did you get into the Dust Bloods beta test? I literally bought a Switch 2 for this game and got accepted. From soft games are hard to miss out on. I love the energy here. We know nothing about this and you bought a Switch 2 for it. That's fucking awesome. I have not checked, so I got to see. I hope so. I'd like to play. So I will let you know. There's so many things I got to play this coming week, dude. My poor email. My poor email. And I'm not complaining really, but like it's a good problem to have. But man, oh man. Man, oh man. What did you think of the Phantom Blade Zero pre-order, Charlie? In all honesty, I think we might have something special incoming minus the digital only. How long is it? We could maybe watch it together. Phantom Blade Zero. 11 minutes. Whoa. Why not? Let's watch. Let's skim.
You're late. Let's get started already.
Sorry, my headphones aren't on, so I can't hear shit. I can't hear shit. Let me pause the musica real quick here. Let's see. Okay. All right.
My damn misfortune hadn't bled me dry.
Get down!
I'm interested in this because I know it's not like typical parry-based combat. Here, let me skip to the gameplay because I mean, oh, this is gameplay. That's a compliment. I think it's about to be gameplay. I saw a health bar in the... Shit. Alright. Repairing. Yeah. Don't care. Alright. Let's get to some combat. Yeah. Damn. Animations are so nice. That was pretty fresh. Let's skip ahead a little bit to a boss that doesn't involve parrying, if there is one, because I'm kind of over parrying. Ooh, spear. Or I think it's Naginata, actually. Oh, shit, that was cool.
Another victim of my blade. Your head is
Oh, shit.
mine.
Watch closely. I'll strike only once. My fists strike only the strong. Who's controlling me? Kill! Shadow softened so.
Yeah, I think it looks solid. It looks, I should say, it looks really good. I don't think I want to play it though. You know, just I feel I don't know. I sound jaded with this, but I feel like I've seen that type of game so many times, and after Sekiro, like it's just so hard to sell myself on a game that could be better in that when it comes to like parry-based action combat. Like you got to do something like Lies of P pulls me in because it's got that all those fundamentals plus an amazing world and story. So it looks good though, but not something I want to move my plans around for. Ever played Septerra Core Legacy of the Creator, Cold Classic JRPG with Marty O'Donnell? No, I've never even heard of this. Let's see here. Septerra Core Legacy of the Creator. Oh, this is like old. Whoa. Classic role-playing game. Sorry, I'm just trying to skip through and see if there's like gameplay. Oh, this is like a PS1 level JRPG. Let me get you guys caught up to speed here. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is old. This is an oldie. Cool character design. I like it. No, I've never heard of this though. 1999 game though. It's cool that it's on Steam. Let's see here. For Elder Scrolls 6, which art style / graphics do you think Bethesda will lean into? Do you think it'll lean more into Starfields or Oblivion Remaster? God, I'd love for them to do more like Skyrim, Oblivion, sort of painterly. I think that looks way better than both. Probably Starfield if I were to bet, because they'll just be able to like do more with that asset library than ever before. So, that would be my prediction. Art style, I mean, that's the thing I wonder about sometimes. I'm like, Skyrim really benefits from a lack of fidelity, and this is going to be our first Elder Scrolls game with fidelity. Because, like, the only other one we've had with current content is Elder Scrolls Online. That was also, like, it's low fidelity. It's a fucking MMO, right? So, that's a good question. Again, I hope they don't go, like, ultra realism. I don't think that's always for the best. Uncharted Wolf, my man. Hot take: Matty streams are the best streams on YouTube. Thank you. Also, Witcher 3 combat is awful and Geralt is lame. Whoa, Geralt is lame. We can hear the combat slander, but Geralt's lame. That is quite a hot take. Read the books. Geralt's sick. I would take anything as how we got Gollum. That's true. That's true when it comes to Lord of the Rings, but like, desperate times, desperate measures when it comes to Halo. Fallout fan guy dude bro. Love the name. Big fan, Matty. Would you ever consider putting an audio version of these streams on Spotify? Yeah, I would definitely consider that. That's a good idea. Yeah, I've never tried that. I guess I need help with that. There's a lot of stuff. I was talking to Dan yesterday. There's a lot of production level stuff that, basically like I kind of have my hands tied. Like we're putting the money I earn into the game we're making. And so right now, like given that is the case, I can't really like pay people more to do more stuff with content, go to other platforms, do different formats, or in this case, like, audio render real quick. Like, yeah, that's just the extra stuff that like, it's all these little hour things that stack up. And so I would love to do this. I'll put it on the list of things that we can do when the time is right. So bear with me, but like, yeah, I appreciate this idea. This is awesome. Arturo, good to see you. Sorry if you've been asked this before, but spaceship combat in Starfield, do you think we'll see combat like AC4 Black Flag in AC or ES6? My God. No, actually, no one's really asked this on stream yet, so this is a good one. Yeah, I would think they'll just do that exactly as you're describing. I mean, there's too much boat-related lore with Hammerfell, where the most surprising thing about that game would be if it didn't have any sort of boat systems at all. My hope, someone brought this up in the comment section in yesterday's video, and they said Bethesda has the chance to do the funniest thing ever. And I was like, what's so funny, comment section? And so I scroll and I read, and someone said it'd be really funny if the ocean functioned like Starfield in space. Then reality started to set in, and I was like, oh, I was thinking of a finite sea. Hand-placed content like beneath the water on islands. It eventually runs out. That's what I was thinking of. But then I could hear the endless expansion of the ocean, the 1,000 islands all open for you to explore on the whatever sea that borders Hammerfell. And that sounded like Todd Howard. So, yeah. I'm excited at the idea of a Black Flag style experience in Elder Scrolls 6. If they just do that, we're golden. But if it turns into Endless Sea, the Great Sea, whatever they end up calling it, the Settled Seas, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Chris, good to see you, man. Shout out to the Planet Crafter on Game Pass. I've never terraformed in real time before, but what a concept. There you go. There's always something coming out where I'm like, what the fuck is that? Never even heard of that. But there's another game. Just another one. And Chris is having a blast with it. Is anyone playing Dusk Fade? I'm a couple hours in. Fun for what it is. Yeah, I was looking at that game. It doesn't look like anything brand new, but looks very up my alley. You know, just old PS2 style game. Creation Island, 1,000 islands. Yeah. See what I'm talking about? Ocean exploration, if they kept it limited, if they kept it like it's a big spot in the game, but they kept it like generally speaking limited, I really think they could cook with it. But like they sometimes can't help themselves at Bethesda Game Studios. I sure hope they learned their lesson with procedural generation. I think we'll hear the term handcrafted more than anything when they reveal. Yeah, I think I think you're totally right that they know if they just beat that shit over the head over and over and over and over, like handcrafted, or like take their things that they've marketed before, like procedural, which used to be like their calling card, and be like, no procedural anywhere. I've said this before, but as TES 6, people are like, I'm so out on TES 6, and I'm like, you're telling me though, to be real with yourself, you're telling me if Todd showed up and it was a truly classic Bethesda Game Studios experience, like you're watching the preview and this director, whatever it is, you're watching and you're like, oh my God, he just said there's no procedurally generated content. It's all handcrafted from the ground up. I mean, I'd be like, okay, I'm a lot more interested now. Like if Bethesda really came out and said that, like the loot is handcrafted. You know, it's all, there's no procedural, like no legendaries. Like if they did the impossible, you wouldn't be interested at least? I don't know, man. I hope they learn their lesson too. I think they got to. If they're not running in the opposite direction of almost every idea that Starfield and 76 have put forward to make sure Elder Scrolls 6 resonates the most with people, then they're not listening. You know? Like they really need to make sure that fans feel like they've been heard. And not just spins. Like Starfield was said to have the most handcrafted content ever, but it was a actually type of handcrafted content. It's like you made all this stuff. There's a lot of content in Starfield. Don't get me wrong, you can spend tons of times in that game. It's a massive fucking game. But it's the way it's handed out to the player in these little bite-sized pieces over these like vast expanses of nothing. And there's no organic way to stumble upon it, so it feels like needle in the haystack, the video game. So if they're not running away from every design convention that Starfield introduced to make sure people feel like right at home with TES 6, then we got a problem. I think Todd wants this to be a good showing after all the memes. I do have faith that they will at least market it well. Yeah, Bethesda gets marketing. If they get one thing, they get marketing. We're talking about the company. Like, they're so fucking nasty. Think about it, dude. I say nasty in a complimentary way. They literally waited to talk about a patch for Oblivion Remastered until they had something to sell you. They're like, we found optimizations on the Switch 2 version. Yeah. We might bring it to console soon. Yeah. But it's available on Switch 2 now. With the new optimizations. You know, like, that's the type of energy I get. I'm like, oh okay. 1, 2. How much is it? 3, 4, 5. There you go. Like, so yeah, they'll market it great. It's about how it plays and how it resonates, of course. Dandy Guy in Space, thank you for your super chat, bro. All right, let's spread the word. Halo Didac Games. Would love for you and Cog to talk about Undefining Duke. Where can I send a pitch into you both? You should be a sub over on patreon.com/lastdaymedia. Every Monday, I post a thread over there, and you can write in. I was going to say fill out a form. Like, what the fuck am I talking about? You can write in over there. And then provided your write-in is well written and your write-in proposes something that's topical and interesting, then you get picked. Like, it's that simple. So that's where you can send the pitch in. But thank you for your super chats. And yeah, go support patreon.com/laststandmedia. Shout out to Colin, Cog, Micah, Dustin, Brad, Gene, all the Locke, Jimmy, all the LSM homies. Chris. Oh my God, I almost forgot Chris. I'm so sorry, Chris. All right, let's keep going here. Puppet Master Blade. I just want Morrowind combat back. It's the best combat system for an RPG, unlike the current BGS games. Now let's pause. I'm getting some Unk vibes here. All right. This is a hardcore RPG, no doubt about it. But there's a compromise. There's a compromise to be made. Okay. You need to work with me on this. There's no way we can ship Elder Scrolls 6 where I am in front of someone and I'm swinging my sword and I know I'm hitting them and no damage is being done because my sword skill is too low. We need to figure that out. If you could work with me on that, I think we can bring Morrowind back in an interesting way. That's all I'm saying. All right. Overture says, I hope Virtuos ain't doing the Fallout remasters. Oblivion running worse the longer your save is insane. Yeah, I mean, it's probably them. They seem to have a partnership with Xbox in total, right? They did fucking end-to-end art for Halo. They did fucking Oblivion remaster. They're no doubt doing the Fallout remasters. Like, it's... Yeah. Malachi, I know I am on cage. You know what to fucking remind me? I was there for when Morrowind came out. I was there. I was cognizant. Just barely, though. just fucking barely, dude. Oh, let me answer this email real quick. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude here. I just want to make sure I don't miss this. And sadly, I have to be that guy. I have to be extremely vague about it. Where did I send? Ugh, I can't do it now. Never mind. Ugh. It's fine. All you need to do is fix the animations when they dodge. The missing is the lack of animation. Make animations for missing and we're golden. This is interesting. This is an interesting compromise. So you just need like that real-time reactivity. So then where's the skill scaling come into place? If I'm like swinging and I'm missing, where does that come into place? Because like I'm thinking you could definitely take some ideas from Morrowind, like its class structure, like in how you build your class, how you customize your character. I think that'd be good. I think what they should do, you know, what would be kind of cool is like a combo based system. Like when you're fighting, let's say it's right trigger, and that's all the fighting is in Elder Scrolls. But what if it was like, that's what you start out as, but as you get better with your sword, new button combinations unlock, and you're like doing combos, and you're breaking guards, and we increase the interesting enemy design rather than focusing on ourselves and the moves that we can do against said enemies. I think that would be awesome. Hot take, but procedural content for miscellaneous things are better for replay value because it's not repetitive. It adds a layer of randomness I value. Yeah, when done right. Like, you're totally right. When done right. Sure. Skyrim is the perfect example. When done right, it adds. Because there is a level of doing procedural stuff to, like, maybe get up in the guild somewhere, and, like, that makes it different each time. That's perfectly done. But the problem is they were just like, what if we made a whole game? That'd be sick, eh? Yeah. What if Elder Scrolls play like Sekiro? God, if Elder Scrolls 6 has a fucking parry, and that's all it's built around, I'm gonna shoot myself. Yo, M-Dog, you ever play From Dust? Deep Cut 360 certified banger. So much style and vibe. Very difficult to play nowadays. This sounds familiar. I think I've heard of it at least. I haven't played it. From Dust, Xbox 360 video game. Who made this? Ubisoft Montpellier. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. Yeah. Now, I never played this, but this is definitely a deep cut. Unfortunately, this isn't good marketing for your game. Just says it's one of the worst running games I've ever played. Yeah, guess it ran like shit. Very different though. Morrowind is my favorite game of all time. That combat system will be dead on arrival in 2026. This is like the compromise. See, I respect that Rook can say this, because when people come to me about KOTOR's combat system, which is like my favorite game of all time, I'm like, you could get the fuck over it. KOTOR's combat system, like, you could get the fuck over it. And like, that's the energy I'd probably hold for Morrowind. If it was like my favorite game of all time, I'd be like, you could just level up, bro. Just saying. But yeah, unfortunately, both our unk-ass games are just destined to push people away with their combat system. Chris says, another hot take. Morrowind's combat can be whatever. What's holding it back is the fact that you have to read 99% of the game. Yeah, I do think some additional voice acting would really help that game out. I agree. That or better conversation filtering systems, you know, like subtopics, and like there's just so much in that game. It's a lot to take in. So I do think there's some truth to that, where, you know, people hear that and be like, oh, but you're a dumbass. And it's like, no. There's, I think, ways to condense the readability. Like I haven't played it, but Disco Elysium is a great example where many VNs learned this lesson, where there's condensed ways to deliver a lot of text and turn it into gameplay even. And I don't think Morrowind does that. Morrowind also could benefit from, someone said a journal system, like an actual quest tracker would be kind of nice. That's the one thing that always fucks me up, bro. Like, I like a quest tracker. Like, it doesn't have to be like, when I say quest tracker, I don't mean like telling me where my waypoint is, but like just organizing the quest better would be fucking awesome. Because even like something like KOTOR, you can't track the quest. You have to know the area you're in or the map of the world you're in, but you can still organize and find what you have active and inactive. And I just feel like Morrowind's journal is awful. So that'd be a nice change as well. Reading is trash, dude. Do folks really dislike reading so much? I don't think they dislike reading so much. I just think there's ways to condense it because you want to keep playing. Liza P is a great example. So Liza P has these massive lore drops that they give you when you're running around, you're reading lost letters or whatever that may have been left behind by people before the puppet frenzy. And if they delivered it to you all at once, you would just naturally, most players would start skimming over. But what happens is they take these and break them up into multiple pages. So you read through them like condensed chunks really quickly. And I think it worked for my friends and I. We were all like, yeah, this is still like I'm reading as much as I normally would, but it feels a lot more digestible. And I think that's a key. Where I don't even think it speaks to attention span. It's just like, when you're playing a game like Liza P that has such great gameplay, I don't want to stop playing, but I want to take in the world. How do I get that in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm losing that? And this is a good compromise. So that is, I don't think people are against reading. I think there's just better ways to deliver reading in games. I personally like the simple combat of RTRT. It's like eating Pringles. The moment a game has combos, it feels more like a chore or a chewy steak than solid flavor. I get what you're saying. I see where your tastes are at now. I do think then the tip here is enemy variety. Like, you can have your RTRT, that's your basic attack. But I do think like a shield break move. I do think like things that can, you know, dispel really quickly, like a magic shield, like really evolving the combat that way where your enemies do really interesting things. Being able to like stop, you know, like think of like what you could do in what you saw in like Force Awakens where Kylo Ren like stops with the Force, the blaster bolts in real time. Like, can you imagine if you could like do that in real time with arrows being shot at you in TES 6 and like flip them around and fire them back out? I think reacting to your enemies would be a more interesting combat system than like a straight up button like prompt overhaul. So I'm curious if you would think that would be more interesting. Dying Light combat for TES 6. Yeah, jumping drop kicks. Fuck yeah. Let's do it. After Skilp's preview of Fire Emblem Fortress Weave, it might be my most anticipated game this year. I agree, man, dude. He fucking killed it. That was a real, I mean, I was talking to him the other day, but he's on fire, dude. He's doing amazing work. And Fire Emblem's looking good, and he's the type of guy I want to hear from that stuff from, because he's not like a Nintendo fanboy. So, you know, I really deeply respect his opinions, of course, and like his whole team. But you know, Fortune's Weave, man, like, I feel like Nintendo fans are always ready to go to bat for their niche games, and like it's cool to hear someone who's like not on that wave be like, yeah, I previewed it and I couldn't stop playing. I love that. So shout out to Skillet. Remake Elder Scrolls Redguard, but let's not get carried away. Let's just focus on the priorities right now. Let's just breathe a little bit, man. Come on now. Scotch Rice again. Welcome back, dude. Dying Light or Dead Island 2 melee combat for Tez 6 is honestly what I would like, but more in depth for skill checks. When you guys bring this up, are you considering the gore factor as well? Like really crazy decapitations? Or are you talking about like being able to throw your weapon and dislodge? I would like that as like an evolution of their real-time loot system. Like I could throw my weapon and it could stab into someone, knock them over, and then I could like dislodge the sword and then cut someone with it. Like, again, this is where I'm talking about like using the sandbox even more. God, I'd fucking love that. So if that's what you're thinking, hell yeah. Maddie, unfortunately, Redguard has incredible / essential lore. Yeah, we kind of learned that last stream, didn't we? Like, the lore for Redguard was, like, kind of nice. But, like, dude, hold on. Like, come on, hold on. Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. Like, we got to just look at some fucking gameplay for this here. Okay.
I'm back after a million years.
I thought it was no commentary. Let's see here.
Never been much for politics in my day. Piracy was honest work. Don't be a hero, boy. Where's the money in that?
And yea, verily, by his bravery they were impressed for a scant few seconds.
You're rusty. Move over. You're rusty. Move over. Let me have him. My turn. Get to his other side.
You two dance very well, but alas, let me show the whelp a thing or two.
Come on.
You two dance very well, but alas.
Small cut. Nothing. My turn.
Let me show the whelp a thing or two. Let me show the whelp. He thinks to himself, I'm a fair hit, but it won't. We could use a sword first.
You're rust.
Let me show the whelp.
Get to his other. My turn.
How did this series get popular, man? The combat's been ass for a while. How did it get popular, man?
You're rusty. Move over. You're my turn. Get to his other.
He still hasn't killed one of them.
But it won't.
You get to his other side.
No!
First time, huh?
He thinks to himself, you really...
Oh, he got one. He got one. He got
Man,
one.
The combat controls in this game are so freaking bad.
Oh, he got both of them.
Cyrus. Captain, good to see you back in command. Ah, please call me Brennan. You disposed of those ruffians so quickly.
I kind of want to try it. I just gotta see how bad that gets, and if like the lore outweighs just what I just witnessed. Like that'd be a nice, interesting play, would it not? A-Bottle, good to see you, man. Random, but what franchise would you put the Nemesis system in, and why? My pick would be Batman Year One game with a focus on art style over realistic graphics. I hope more games prioritize art more. Yeah, I agree on that last part. Nemesis system for a game series, I'd love to see. I feel like the beauty of Nemesis system and why so many of us really loved it is because we could see it fitting in so many worlds. Like, you could just retrofit it into so many. Like, I mean, I even thought of like Fallout at the time, just like kind of, you know, you think about, because basically the beauty of the Nemesis system was you took the common enemies and you created relationships. So it's like, imagine if in Fallout you had like this encounter with a raider and he got away, and then, you know, you saw him later, and like that relationship continued on through the open world. Like, that'd be fucking awesome, right? So like that was the first franchise that really came to mind for me. So generic answer, yeah, but like I just think like having deeper relationships with all the people in the world would be so cool. So fitting. But you'd probably kill them running away before they could do anything about it, right? Because you'd have like your fucking guns and everything. So maybe be a little pointless there, but still. I kind of want a Skyrim remaster in UE5, not gonna lie. Oh, dude. I think it's gonna happen. Like, I think it's happening before Morrowind, for sure. Oh, sorry, I didn't turn on the... Whoops. Forgot to adjust the music. Yeah, I think a Skyrim remaster in Unreal 5 is gonna be like a no-doubter. I just think they, as I mentioned in my timeline video, I think they got to do it before they do TES 6. Otherwise, I think it doesn't really serve anything. But if they did a Skyrim remaster with like the DLC that we were talking about earlier in the stream, like they were like, hey, this is going to set up Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, that'd be fucking awesome. On paper. Because we'd all buy it. Dave Wonder's in the building. He says, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Matty. How's it going, man? How's your game project progressing? We're going well. We're headed to a deadline right now in September, and we're looking pretty solid here. As always, it's going to be a little tight. Definitely because I'm traveling soon. It's definitely going to be tight, but we got a little bit over a month to go, and I'm quite pleased with the progress we're making. So we're doing good, man. But it's good to see you, Dave. Thank you for checking in. I did see the Infamous 2 UGC servers are going down. I don't remember, when are they going down? When are Infamous 2 servers shut down? Shuts down on August 31st. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get those trophies. Sure, I'm gonna write that in my planner. I'm gonna actually make a plan this weekend to do that. Because I made that mistake with PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale. I didn't get the online trophies before the servers went away, and now that's a game I wish I got the platinum for. The old Fable games 1, 2, 3 with Nemesis system would be sick in my opinion. That would be cool. I like that. That's another good pick. Yeah, Nemesis system again. It can fit anywhere, anytime. You know, so good call there. Hey, let me get some slop going here. I just realized I just looked at my timer. I'm like, oh, I've been going for an hour and a half. I apologize. I didn't even realize. I didn't realize time's just flying, man. It's just one of those days. I hope the systems are a little less streamlined than Skyrim. Would love to see the return of skills like athletics, acrobatics, and climbing. I agree. I think just the doubling down of more hardcore elements in TES 6 would just go such a long way. You know, if we're talking about a game that needs a lot of shelf life, they need to make it like, I think, they need to give us a little bit more to sink our teeth into. More builds, more ways to think about our characters, that kind of thing. So, all right. Let me, thank you again for your super chat. Let's see here. What do I want to talk about first? Let's talk about, I want to talk about this Xbox call out. This one's long overdue. So I would like to I'd like to dive into that first. Let me get all of my links up in the meanwhile. You're probably going to hear audio again because this is another clip I got to grab here. And then this one here. Okay. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and do this. I don't need my headphones on for this one. Try Watchtower for Starfield. Dialogue with the guy that saves you was bad, goofy, vague, and ruined the tone. Made me appreciate Bethesda. Well, I guess good thing it's not official content then, right? there's that there, but that's a shame to hear. I think Kingath and their team do really good work. That's a shame to hear. I'm glad you appreciate Bethesda. There's that. There's something. Did you maybe learn you took a blessing for granted? All right. Okay. Let's do this, guys. Let's get some slop going. If you'd like to, hey man, right here. Put some meat in these hands. Put some meat emojis in these hands. All right. We're gonna rock some slop out here. We're gonna rock out with our slop out. And see what's cooking in the world of Xbox. So feel free to spam away and let's do this. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about Xbox. A call out has occurred, and I want to jump to the end of this real quickly. This call out happened on the Well Played podcast, and it was talking about what happened at id Software. And let me make sure the full channel has visibility here so you can go ahead and check out the episode for yourself. I'll also have it linked in the Matty Slop videos description for you to peep out. This here is Chris Hayes on the left. He is a lead services programmer at id Software. Key word there is, not was, is. We've seen a lot of layoffs in our industry, unfortunately. A lot of studio closures, unfortunately. And normally these types of comments arrive from disgruntled employees who have been fired. And I think the reason this comment carried particular weight from me is this individual is still employed at Xbox. And he really lit a fire under their ass without any sort of care about what repercussions would follow afterwards. Things like saying Xbox fundamentally does not understand art, talking about talking points that were handed out. He really blew up their spot. And it gives some very healthy perspective on the Xbox reset, which the other point I have in my head that I want to really sink into with this video, but I want to talk about now, is that the verdict is still out on said Xbox reset. There's a lot of stuff that's shaping up in the ways that I think, frankly, fans have wanted to see for a while. You know, you think about the Bethesda roadmap. It's like, finally, dude. Back compat coming back. Finally, dude. Focusing on console updates. Finally. Focusing on exclusivity. Finally. Like a lot of things that are good, but with the reset and really what Asha and her team have decided is good for these development studios beneath them, we have yet to see the true effects of that. So I think the verdict is still out. And I do think that Chris in this interview answers his own question, but right now we don't know how the reset will actually go. So what I want to go through are some prior comments and then get into what is said on this podcast, because I think it is pretty insane, all the things that he said. So let's start off with what id Software said. They posted on Twitter and they said this: "Thank you all for the support this week. While our studio was impacted, those changes were spread across teams. We still have the crew we need to build the games and tech we're known for. The team today is about the size when we were making Doom 2016. We have always had a flat studio where everyone is a maker, and we will remain true to that philosophy moving forward. We are focused on supporting each other and the team members impacted. We're going to keep building great games and tech that have defined us for the past 35 years, and we're looking forward to seeing you at QuakeCon, which has already gone down. Unfortunately, because there was a leak about potentially a Wolfenstein remaster showing up at this QuakeCon. I don't know where that is. I'd love to see that show up. But anyway, this was posted after the reset occurred because id lost half their staff. And a lot of people were freaking out, like, is id done for? Is id gone? Are we not doing id tech? Like, a lot of vets were also let go of by Xbox. And it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, at the same time, Doom Eternal was kind of the peak of the mountain for a lot of us. Doom The Dark Ages, they spent 5 years on it, and it shipped. And because of Game Pass, what we heard is in its launch week, it hit a total of 3 million players, but 2.25 million, I believe, of those players, according to Alinea Analytics estimates, were Game Pass players. So the game didn't really sell well, which is a problem that a lot of other developers beneath Xbox fell into. That's why they spun out all these teams. But id fell into that awkward position because then after this, they spent a full year on DLC for a game that didn't do super well, and they got hacked down because of that. As someone who has enjoyed all 3 of the Doom games, it was a real shame to see. But this was the comment officially by Doom. And then we did have Hugo Martin, who is the studio head for id Software, and he spoke up about the matter. He was like, here's what's going on. And so this was during the Slayers Club. So let's take a listen to what he had to say.
For starts, I'm not saying anything new.
Yeah.
Our team, there's been reports that like we've been, nerfed into the ground and gutted, and we have 50 people, and that's not true. We're the size we were when we made Doom 2016. And id Tech is very much alive and well. You have to understand, we have id Tech engineers both in Frankfurt and at Machine Games. We collaborate quite a bit. So the id Tech is there, the Doom team is here, and we're excited to work on, to share with you guys more of what we're working on in the future when it is appropriate and approved. But
That's right.
So that's the official comment, right? And obviously, you have to look at these comments coming from id Software through the lens of skepticism. I think very fair skepticism. We're talking about a team that just got completely nuked, and now they're like, we're good, though. We're good. It's fine. It's chill. Obviously, this is to settle two groups of people. This is to settle the masses, like, id's not going anywhere. id Tech is still a thing because we have Machine Games who just built Indiana Jones on id Tech, and like we have people beyond id themselves familiar with this tech, and we're incubating and working on tech basically overseas while id Software themselves is just making games with that technology. It sounds like they're just not working on it as actively in-house, which is a little strange. But nonetheless, they're trying to settle the masses. So everyone's kind of going, it's chill. And then they're probably trying to settle the people down who work there, who are wondering, how are we going to do this? And basically having a sort of rallying cry say, we're fine. We're going to figure this out. Like, we're all good. And many of us, myself included, love Doom 2016. I'm like, oh, I can get down with a game of that size if that's what you're going to deliver. Sure. And the rumor right now is that they are working on a Doom video game. And just as I'm talking right now, my mouse died. So I can't even switch tabs right now. Give me 1 second. All right. So Doom is more Doom is on the way, right? But now we get into Chris Hayes' comments, because this is the statement. This is the precedent that's been set by id Software. This is the precedent that's been set by Xbox. And Chris Hayes, lead services programmer, had the following to say. This is from IGN. It's hard to make a game that is AAA that is like what we've done before with half the people. And by hard, I mean impossible. It's hard to make a game when there are entire departments that are gutted, that you need entire disciplines that are gone. So if they've got some kind of new plan for how this is going to work, that hasn't been told. We don't know what that is. The reassurances that we're still the same id and we're going to do things, well, first of all, we're not the same id. We're half the same id. Id was the people. What made us special was the people and the relationships that we have. So, you could pull that apart really quickly and be like, oh, he's talking about like we're the people, right? Like we're half the same id, as in like we're not the same id. Yet, like you can see the semantics in it, but no plan provided. Again, this is where I came with the theory. I'm like, they're probably trying to settle some of the confusion happening internally, where you're like, okay, yeah, we're good. But again, this is an employed man saying this. He says, studio management is given talking points on things that are allowed to be said and what is not allowed to be said. It feels like it is instead more reassurances. They don't want people to jump ship and say, oh, there's no more of a future at id, so we're all going to leave. And then there's no one left. They don't want unrest. At the end of the day, most of it was just trying to tell us that, oh no, everything's fine, things will be okay. This is another huge one. We already know, PR's got their hands all over this. Like, this isn't a message here that reads to me like, it's not even signed by like Hugo or Marty. It's just from id Software themselves. So yeah, this is definitely PR doing their thing. We know talking points are constantly floating around in situations like these. Anyone who's familiar with the industry knows that. But he also mentions people jumping ship. And why is that? Because there is fear that with id being this small, they'd be turned into, say, a support studio. And where is Xbox pouring the resources into a particular company who happens to work on id Tech? It's actually Machine Games. And Machine Games is working not only on Wolfenstein, but a Wolfenstein TV show with the same Amazon crew that did Fallout. And so you start to see, like, to me, the chess pieces start falling into place a little bit. Like, oh, we're putting Doom to the side as a studio, I'm saying, because they didn't make a lot of money last time. We see big money potential here. We want to keep that staff here. So Machine Games didn't really get hit at all during at least the first wave of the Xbox reset. So no one really wants to be told, oh, basically it is a support studio now for Machine Games, or that's what you're going to function as, until that reality, I guess, sets in maybe. So interesting commentary there. That's not all. There's so much more. That's the crazy part. He just kept going. Hayes said the reality is that id now houses less than the number of staff that worked on 2016's Doom. He noted that fans will certainly have their preferences in the series, but added, there is a lot more that went into each Doom game that went along. We made bigger and better games, but that's with twice as many people as we had. So we have fewer than we had before. So are we going to make something equivalent to a single-player Xbox 360 game? Because that's the size of the studio that we have. So it's more like pre-Doom 2016, like the lead up to it. Now, I wanted to sit on this one for a little bit here. I'm sitting here listening to this clip play back, and I'm thinking, I think you answered your own question, dude. And I'm not saying, again, this is where the verdict is really out on the Xbox reset. Because truthfully, I don't know if that's for the good of the industry. I don't know if that becomes marketable if you see like a smaller whatever Doom, if people get excited for that. I don't know how that all plays out. Now, for me as like a hardcore player, I'm the annoying guy. I'm the rose-tinted glasses guy, although not really, because I go back and play this era of games often, who's said, like, I don't think we really needed to figure out much beyond that generation. To me, in a lot of ways, that mid 360, mid PS3 gen style game were just some real souped up PS2 games. There was a fun factor. There was a limitation that was there. There was an imagination that was there that maybe you had to lend your own to kind of complete the experience, but in a healthy way. But it was because of those technical compromises. But it wasn't until like late 360, late PS3, you get like a Last of Us, which was like a true artistic experience on like a level that was like we'd not really seen before, with animation quality, visual quality, storytelling, the way it's shot, like Hollywood gaming, that sort of stuff, right? We had not really entered that era. And I think a lot of companies, as the industry scaled up, kind of followed suit and scaled up too. And so I would welcome 360 scaled games. I don't know, man. I think of games like Evil West, and I'm like, fuck yeah, give me more of that. I think about when Space Marine 2 first launched, that Warhammer 40K game, and its style of game. I mean, I don't know what its production cost was, but the style of game where it's like, here's your little campaign, here's your little multiplayer, here's a little horde kind of experience. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, this is sometimes all I personally need. And I could see one of two things happening here. One, let's be real, Xbox's reset blows up in their face. They cut a lot of valuable talent out of their teams that helped make their teams worth caring about, and their games in turn worth caring about. And they cannot even complete the simplest of tasks because there's too many broken gears in the machine. That's very possible. Another possibility, though, is because you are limited once more, like teams were back then, or indie teams are nowadays, or even AA teams are nowadays, you have to get creative, and you have to kind of scratch the imagination, the brain of the player to kind of get them to actively participate in the ways that they used to, versus nowadays where gaming, and again, I'll shout out the excellent video by Del Walker, gaming solved with technology a lot of its problems, which is why we see people posting videos online of like fruit comparison shooting videos between Call of Duty and Halo Infinite or something like that. I remember that. I was like, what the fuck are we doing now, dude? But like, I do think the farther you push into that sort of thing, like the GTA 6 comparisons are going to be nauseating for the next decade, because they've spent so long, they've had to push into this level of detail. You'd have to imagine the same way Red Dead Redemption 2 did. And so there is that level of commitment to realism that it requires, where I don't think every game needs that. So I do think Chris answers his own question here of like, yeah, you're probably going to make that style of game. And I don't know if that'll be for the better or the worse of your team, but for me, my favorite games from you were before Dark Ages. Dark Ages definitely went bigger in a lot of ways. Eternal was fucking incredible, perfect first-person shooter, and Doom 2016 was just the right size. I think just those two games, Eternal and 2016, were just the right size. So if you're making something in that pocket, give or take, I mean, fuck, man, sure. Not framing it as the perfect thing here, because I really love it as a team, but I think he does answer his own question. But again, there's so much more here. That's the question that Peshk asked, but Hayes says he has no idea why the layoffs are spread out like they were. One topic that the question did lead to, however, was Game Pass. On the ground level, we don't get to know what that is. We can have guesses just like everyone else. I know that we have serious issues with how Game Pass is done, being id. He says, whenever we see Microsoft financial reports that say there were, poor sales under Bethesda, well, what's a sale? If you have Game Pass, are you saying that poor sales mean a poor number of games sold? Because, of course, you're not doing a game sold business. They fundamentally don't understand art. They don't. They don't understand art. They don't understand games. They don't understand that business model, which is like, damn, dude, you still work there. Not saying he can't say this. I'm like, I'm eating it up. And I'm like, I can't imagine the conversation that went on after this. Like, this is going in front of your leaders. And a really telling story of this was actually with Avowed, where their art director, whatever his name was, like put himself in front of the whole game. And the difference in Hero Complex here is like, you can give it a leg to stand on here with what Chris is saying, where what the art director at Obsidian was doing at the time was just like, I think certifiably fucking insane and destructive to everyone on the team. And it divided the team, because there were people who were like, yeah, keep going. There were people who were like, what the fuck are you doing? You're ruining us. You're ruining so many years of work by making this about yourself. And so when you have a sort of unifying statement made by Hugo to try to, I guess, I don't know, keep the peace or something like that, and then you have this guy who, clearly intelligent individual, but also emotionally charged, and is making sure people know, like, this is what's actually happening, basically. That can cause problems internally too. Even if a lot of people are really interested in the beef going on, this can cause a divide. Like, why did you say this? Thank you for saying this. And then there's your split. So with the Game Pass stuff, this I imagine is an issue that has to do with the prior leadership group, because they drove a lot of their business value through the subscription service and Game Pass. That was their thing. That was where they were trying to go. It subsidized a lot of losses for them, but it also failed to grow over time. And so with something like Game Pass now being out the window, and Xbox now I shouldn't say out the window, that's extreme. With Game Pass being a little bit more like, you're seeing measured approaches being taken. You're seeing Call of Duty go away from day one. You're seeing a willingness to go back to console exclusivity, which likely indicates at least trying to get people to eventually pay for these games on the platform. Like, I think they want people to pay for their biggest franchises at the end of the day. And so whatever maybe it does next, I imagine by that point we'll have Game Pass figured out. I've been saying since this reset really began and Asha Sharma started to make her kind of initiative clear, I've felt for a while that Game Pass is up for some serious reform. I don't think day one Game Pass really connects with what this leadership group has been doing. They've been running in the opposite direction from pretty much everything Phil and co did since this whole thing started with Asha. So seeing this, I'm like, I wonder how he feels when if it changes. But it's really this last quote that gathered the headlines, right? Let's read it again. You're not doing a game sold business model. They fundamentally don't understand art. They don't. They don't understand art. They don't understand games. They don't understand that business model. It's a pretty fucking crazy thing to say about your employer, right? We had someone write in chat and they're like, what are the chances of this guy getting fired? And like, I don't know. I don't know what their contracts are like. I don't know what kind of like NDAs are set up or things that they are and aren't allowed to say. But this is like rogue on a level of, at least from my perspective, on a level of like, he's just over and over. It's not even like one passing comment. It's like, they don't get the business. What they said isn't true. Leaders were given talking points. You know, like it's a crazy amount of shit that he just dumps out there. So I look at all that. I'm like, I imagine he's at least in trouble. You know, I mean, that art director who got in trouble at Obsidian, I don't know if he got fired or anything like that, but I know he doesn't work at the team anymore. I imagine at some point there is a split that occurs, but there's also probably a level of power in it. It's like, you already fired everyone in the first half. What are you going to fire me too? There could be a level of just like meat on the table energy. I don't know. But I thought this was fascinating. And it's just a sobering reminder with everything going on that there's a lot of exciting things happening with Xbox. And I'm right there to be clear with everyone. Like, I'm very happy with a lot of things happening with Xbox now, which I did not expect to be saying in 2026. But there's also a lot that has yet to be seen. And that is important to just keep in mind. Doesn't mean you have to fun murder yourself, which is my new term. Like, you don't have to just, there's like people who like piss on everyone's parade. And it's like, you can be excited for back compat or excited about Gears going exclusive, whatever it be. You can be excited about these things while also remaining a bit skeptical about Reset. And that's where I'm at. I'm like, I could see a world where like, I've long believed the industry and its teams are way too big and way too bloated. I could see a world where these cuts end up being a harsh reality. But the question is, did they cut the right people? Did they trim down the right size? Is the project scope meeting that team size, et cetera, et cetera? That's what we don't know yet. And so it's important to just wait and see that all play out. And then we can evaluate that part and see if it was a good call by Xbox. But it's very clear here that the lead services programmer at id Software, Chris Hayes, does not like the move. And don't blame him. He works there. He lived it. He's seen it. So definitely, again, a sobering reminder that while there's a lot of good going on, the Xbox reset, we have yet to see it all, and that it could get pretty bad. You know, the question is, can Xbox deliver continuous Game of the Year caliber titles? They certainly have the IP to make you care, but can they have the talent and the projects to really demand your attention? And it's always hard to imagine when you take one of your more prestigious teams like id and cut them in half. So we'll see, especially because this has happened in hot on the heels. I should have mentioned this earlier. People love Revelations. They're like, oh man, like if you had problems with Dark Ages, Revelations is sick. So we shall see. I'm pulling for id though. Love their games. Can't remember the last id Software game I played that I didn't like. So still looking forward to the future of Doom, but will be interested to see what happens to Chris Hayes. Chat, let me hear it. How are we feeling about, pardon me and all my burping this stream. I've been bad this stream. How do we feel about where id Software is at right now? We've got the Xbox reset hitting them, cutting them in half, and we've got devs speaking out. Pretty bold. So how are we feeling about this? Is this like, hell yeah, go get them? This is like, look out, buddy. You're probably going to be looking for a new job soon. I'd like to hear how everyone's feeling about this. Let me turn on the music. One take Schreier and one take Matty. Yeah, I give Jason a run for his money. Too early to tell if it's working out. I think maybe he found out he's part of the next 1,300 cuts is my thing. That's true. How did I not think of that? Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, he just might be like, fuck it. I'm just gonna go out in a blaze of glory. Yeah. Is id doomed? I can't, bro. Memeing on the studio, just getting closures. It's crazy. Skeptical but hopeful for their future. He's probably not wrong, but also jeopardizing his own job by acting like court jester. Oh, strong take. id Software is a perfect example of how Xbox is a terrible steward of talent and an awful home for games. That's been a pretty common take. That definitely Xbox is just like reaffirming what they've always been bad at. Especially when you gotta admit, you bring in a CEO that doesn't have a lot of gaming history. What does that lead to exactly? Let me get this over to Emmett. When it seems like someone is putting their livelihood on the line to get a message out, I listen. I respect that. Yeah. Very, very sobering call there. Wants to be fired, gets better severance. Could be. Could be. I asked this in DD a while back. Thank you, Claw 117. Sorry for your super chat. But the answer got cut off from the Brad curse. Oh, I'm so sorry. Was Phil unfairly demonized due to the 30% that was lifted for Asha? And what could Phil have done to make the 30% less harmful to the Xbox base? I don't think Phil was unfairly demonized. I think, in fact, the community has had a pretty level-headed perspective on him. Phil was for a lot of great things. And a lot of those things ended up... So Phil saved the brand. And that is why I'll always respect Phil. Because without him, there is no Xbox, right? When they were going to shut down the brand at the end of the Xbox One, Phil pitched this plan that we're talking about unwinding now, which gave them a lifeline. And as someone who grew up loving Xbox and does not want to see them leave the industry at all, I'm super thankful that Phil Spencer was there to pitch this plan and to get it over the line. I also really loved and still do love parts of, as I'll explain more, Game Pass, because as a kid who grew up with not a lot of money, like, to me, being able to access a library of games it was so like, what? I thought about how I'd spend like $14 at Blockbuster for one game for 2 weeks, and for, $10 to $15 a month, whatever the price was when it launched, you got this huge library. You can find old videos of me just gassing it up. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, this is awesome. And I did make in that video, the title was Game Pass will change the industry. And boy, did it. One of my best calls. I was like, yeah, this shit is going to change everything. And again, it absolutely did. But without that moment, without that kind of bold plan forward, they would not be here. And so I don't think he's unfairly demonized, because I think a lot of people recognize that. But I think a lot of people also recognize that the problem was with that lifeline, it put Xbox in a position where they had to use a business model that, what Chris Hayes just argued, fundamentally works against the video games industry. There's a reason why exclusivity sells, because, just like a sports package on a TV network, just like a subscription service for a movie subscription of some kind, just like even theater offerings of seating or types of theater viewing experiences, exclusive offers drive every single business on this planet forward. You can't get this anywhere else. That's why even, great value knockoffs exist, because you can get a knockoff version for cheaper of that apple juice that you really like. It's the Walmart version. It's basically the same, but if you want the true, like, what was it, Martinez? I forget what it is. It's the glass bottles. But anyway, I think that is the idea behind it all. And so as Xbox runs away from these fundamentals, that becomes the, what are you doing? And then there is the brand damage that comes with it, as these moves became more aggressive. And there's no denying that he brought the Eye of Sauron down on the Eye of Satya, down on the brand when it was not ready for that, by purchasing Activision for a premium at that. Not just making a purchase, but the biggest purchase of all time in gaming history. There's a difference between the two. There's a difference between, we bought another Bethesda, which would have brought more attention, and we bought Activision Blizzard King, which is a whole other type of investment that radically changes your business. And Activision still feels a bit out of sync with what happens at Xbox. Like, they still operate on their kind of own thing. Xbox Game Studios is looking at exclusives, while Activision Blizzard King is sort of in this world of like, we just make a lot of fucking money. We've got Blizzard was the highest, as we'll talk about in one of our other stories later. Like, Blizzard was the highest grossing developer underneath all of Xbox, including Activision itself. Like, that's with Call of Duty. And that was thanks to Diablo and Overwatch. That's fucking crazy, dude. So yeah, he brought a lot of attention to the brand that it wasn't ready for. And then with the 30%, scrutinized for that was part of what happened, is because they spent so much money, they had to make it back. So it was time to go multi-plat. It was time to eliminate exclusivity. It was time to put Xbox everywhere, because the core user base wasn't growing. Their eyes averted from the mission. And that is why he gets demonized. Because he took his eyes off the brand. And why is Asha being celebrated? Because she put her eyes back on the brand. So I think to answer your question, what could Phil have done to make that 30% less harmful? Invested in the core franchises he purchased before that. I'm not saying Fallout would have straight up saved the day, but when you're counting your business on Hellblade 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, I say as someone who loves that game, by the way, Kiln, Keeper, South of Midnight, to step up as the new era of Xbox, and like, you have nothing else from like a heavy hitter point of view beyond Forza Horizon. That's an awful plan, dude. It is. Avowed is another one. Pentiment's another one. Games that I have some enjoyment levels with. You know, that's a really bad plan when you buy developers like Bethesda and you don't use big money franchises. You can't let Halo go the way you did. That's a way to make some money. People loved Halo at one point. People did not despise 343 at one point. You let that shit spin out of control. As the steward of that brand, you led to its ruin. Can't let that happen. There's just no fucking reason why that should happen. So there are things like that that could have absolutely undid some of the damage. Some of their power brands like Gears and Halo faded while Forza Horizon exploded. And then other smaller franchises, as expected, did not do as well because they were supposed to be Game Pass things. And so you had no Fallout or Elder Scrolls, like these bona fide successes, to follow it up. So there, again, that's the thing, is I don't think he's unfairly demonized because his decision making, it's not like, oh, yeah, duh. It's like everyone thought when they bought Bethesda Game Studios, oh my God, they're going to fucking do it, bro. They're going to power Fallout and Elder Scrolls to a new level. Like by this point now, they bought them in like what, 2021? Officially is when the deal closed. It's 2026. By this point, we thought we were going to have multiple Fallout and Elder Scrolls games. At least one of from either the franchises, just in total. Like just at least one new game from either Fallout or Elder Scrolls. I think that was a fair assumption to make. And we're not even like next year, finally. No doubt it was a conversation, but I think a roadmap was laid out that just required way too much patience from the player. So, yeah, man, I don't think he's unfairly demonized. I think Phil Spencer could have done better. Does Asha have a better playbook to work with here? I also think that's fair to say. She talked about there's no 30% mandates, but we don't know. It could be 25. It could still be a really high number. But ignoring that for a moment, if she doesn't have it, then it's important to orient the brand around this new margin that's more realistic and within industry standards, which is around 10 to 20%, roughly, sometimes sub 10%. And if that is why they're doing the reset, because they're like, these are the margins that we have to work within, so we need to not spend so much on overhead to achieve these margins, then I think that is why she will be primed for success long term. But no doubt she was given a clean slate because Satya gave up on the mission, because Satya and Amy Hood did Phil fall, prey to them pushing him? I think it's fair to say that for sure. Like, I think there's some fairness in the idea that like Phil partially understood what meant a lot to gamers because of someone like again, I think of Ninja Gaiden 4, like that's a straight up like this guy knows ball type of move. I don't know if this new leadership group is going to get those types of deals done. I'd love to see that happen. But I do think Phil definitely got pushed and had to make some reactionary decisions to try to inject money into the brand. And I think Asha being given that clean slate, Satya, I think Amy Hood had to realize like they're fucking murdering the brand. It's doing worse with their push to go elsewhere because the novelty factor is not a selling factor. PlayStation learned this. PlayStation learned this with the computer. Oh my God, I sound like I straight up unk there, the computer. Oh my God, they learned it on PC, on Steam. When they shipped their games over on Steam, dude, they realized really quickly, oh shit, like this novelty factor of making people wait and then buy, here we go, PlayStation's on Steam now, right? It worked at first. Games like Horizon and God of War did really well. But as time went on, those PlayStation games on PC did worse and worse. And the one that always stood out to me was Spider-Man Miles Morales doing like barely 500,000 copies. And when you look at how much money PlayStation typically courts in a year, them making, over the course of their PC push, like $1 billion or something, really wasn't anything worth, or hundreds of millions. It was somewhere in that range. I'm sorry. It's something with a lot of money. Just really wasn't breaking the bank enough to, I think, make a huge difference. And so I feel like Xbox had the same thing. They were like, Fool's Gold, Forza Horizon 5, and Sea of Thieves. These are popping off. Can you imagine when we bring Gears and Halo over? And then there's Gears of War. And Gears of War, dude, Gears Reloaded underperformed something fierce. And then there's also Halo Campaign Evolved. And it's like, oh, our flagship sold over a million? That's it. Are you... Double check the numbers, please. What are you talking about? Over a milli? That's it? 1.2? That's it? Which is a whole other conversation we'll have in a little bit on some slop. But yeah, I wanted to give you the full answer. I don't think Phil was unfairly demonized because I think a lot of it was kind of self-inflicted over time, and some key decisions that could have been made could have at least delayed. If this was inevitable, it could have delayed it pretty significantly, I think. So we'll see if Asha fares better. Certainly Phil started off with a long leash. Here's the new Game Pass initiative. And to in Amy Hood's credit, they let the man cook. You know, we got another generation of Xbox out of it. We'll see if Asha can give us some legs to stand on now. We'll see. Great question. Hopefully I answered it in full for you. Oh, sorry, you had a second super chat. The Phil question was from a while back before we agreed how bad he was. Studio brand management, communication, but I'm still curious about it. Well, there's your answer. Thank you. Bro got his $20 worth from Matty. Nice man. I try to not always be like that where it's like, oh, you paid $5, I'm going to give you this. Like, I just try to answer it based on what's in my brain. New Rebs gaming post. I'm scared. No, wait. I have a Halo Matty slot prepared. What do you mean a Rebs gaming post? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. 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 What did he post? What did he post? Rebs gaming. Halo's future is outsourcing. Uh-oh. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. That scares me. All right, Nitram, thank you for your super chat. What if Asha is good at steering the narrative, perhaps too good, while Microsoft is simply moving money from gaming to AI? I'd kill myself. Yeah, I mean, look, she's obviously very good at PR. I don't think anyone's unwise to that. She's obviously very good at like messaging and marketing and communication and getting people excited. I said this on Defining Duke that I'm sure there's been at some point in this run of hers where she's been sitting behind closed doors talking to someone she trusts and been like, I had to work way fucking harder to excite people about our products compared to what gaming does. Gamers are ready to hate, and people always say that, sure, but they're truly ready to cheer almost all the time, as we can tell with Xbox. They were so down and out, and all of a sudden people were like, fuck yeah, dude, keep going, Asha, we'd love to see it. So she's very good at steering the narrative. And yeah, you could argue too good. Like, I definitely think she has a real talent for communication, public relations. She just kind of is she's strong in what she knows what the people want. And I think it's something to be cognizant of as they, you know, again, her posting 8 asterisks for Elder Scrolls 6, she knows what it's going to lead to, you know? And sure, you could look at me and be like, oh, jingling keys, he played right into it. But like, I'm not allergic to having fun with it. It doesn't mean I'm going to give Elder Scrolls 6 a glowing fucking review when it comes out. It's like, yeah, let's look into what the subtitle would be. People are curious about it. And I think she understands that there's no harm in these things. And that Xbox has always been their own worst enemy. That they could just, you know, go out of their way and get a couple of easy W's. Cog and I always call them layups on Defining Duke. Like, just go fucking down the lane, dude. Lay it up. 2 points. Like, it's not going to change everything, but like, just go tease the subtitle of Elder Scrolls 6. Fuck it. Why not? You know? Come on. But yeah, I am wary about the leadership group there and how a lot of pro AI people, it's something I'm always a little about, especially with Satya's fucking raging AI boner, dude. It's fucking crazy. All right. Chief Adam, good to see you again. In order for Xbox to survive and thrive, day one first-party games would need to be removed. The price would also need to be lowered in that case. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about Game Pass. I would agree. I think Game Pass hit a certain ceiling that they'd be comfortable with if they could sell games elsewhere. So if they're like, basically Game Pass is our PS Plus, which is PS Plus doesn't do day one games, but we have this strong subscription service and people are buying our exclusives day one. I think they're just looking at that business model and going, we can make that work. We have the IP to pull people in. Like, this will sell. I just think they have to find new cores, which Halo, I mean, I'm curious to see how Gears does. I think Gears will do quite well. Halo, but like if you were going to use as your core Fallout or Elder Scrolls, it's like, fuck, now, like, okay, that Forza Horizon, I think Fable will do really well. Like, I think they're finding a new core, basically. JCMC is king. What do they want Xbox to do? Bought way too much and they need to cut back. It's a reset. Once the dust settles, teams can grow again if all goes well. That is a really good point in all of this that I don't think... So when the industry was really... Like, we weren't in this fully social space like we're in now. But before this, I remember, like, seeing a lot of reports from, like, IGN and stuff about how what would happen is projects would... Like, teams would be small... And then as the project would go on, they'd gradually scale up and add people to their team. And basically you'd have the core and then you'd have the surrounding talent. And I mean, there was always outsourcing, but this was like, I remember reading people would be brought into the studio. And then when their usefulness was out, they'd be let go. And the core would move on to the next project with the pieces that they had. They'd build it up and then they'd rehire once more. And maybe not those same people, but they bring in others to kind of help. So basically the core would establish the pipeline. And once the pipeline's right, it's like, we need stuff now. So you bring in a bunch of additional workers and they handle it all. And so I wouldn't say it's old school development, but I could see a world where it's like they're trying to get back to that. Would Avatar The Last Airbender be in your top 5 franchises? Do you think it's the best franchise we've ever gotten from Nickelodeon? SpongeBob's second, of course. SpongeBob's my first, bro. SpongeBob's one of my goats. I love Avatar The Last Airbender. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, though, so maybe I'd feel differently nowadays. But I think SpongeBob is fucking brilliant, dude. Like, I still quote SpongeBob on a at least weekly basis. I still watch old episodes from time to time. I just can't get enough of SpongeBob, dude. I love it. It's right there with like Family Guy for that. Just it's huge impact on my humor. But it's also clearly like something that was so impactful where it's always like the gears are turning in my brain where like I had to fight the desire to like drop a SpongeBob reference almost every video I do. It's constant. It's crazy, dude. Yeah. So Last Airbender, I can't say it's in my top 5 just because like, I mean, from Nickelodeon, sure. But like, I haven't watched it in so long, but I have no doubt I'd probably end up feeling that way. But I love SpongeBob. Just too nice. Too nice, bro. Like I saw we were talking about something for our game and someone sent a reference photo in our Discord server and it like the reference to something I was like it had like a thing on it that I was like, what the fuck is that? So I sent like this clip of SpongeBob going like flop and flotsam, what's that? Like where he sees like the smallest dot of paint on the one frame dollar in Mr. Krabs' house. Like that shit just jumped to my brain. And there's no real other entertainment that jumps to my brain like SpongeBob does. You know? SpongeBob, yeah, I think Lonely Sam is right. SpongeBob is mandatory to watch for the culture. Like it really is like there are a few things like I think Sopranos is something I realized that with where I'm like there are a few things that we as humans as a species need to watch and consume to have conversations. Like Sopranos is one of those things. Like we can always talk about Sopranos. SpongeBob, we can always reference and talk about SpongeBob. You know, Family Guy's another one. The train robbery scene in Family Guy, you know, the one where they go to rob the train. Like I talked about this a few streams ago, actually. Yeah, I love that shit. The chicken fights. I just like R as in Robert Lozier. O as in oh my God, it's Robert Lozier. B as in by God, that's Robert Lozier. Like I don't know, dude. Like. E as in everybody loves Robert Lozier. Like so good. My 3-year-old asks for SpongeBob all the time. Yeah, man. 3-year-old's got good taste. Give the kid what he wants. Or she, sorry. All right, let's see here. Getting our next slop going here. Apparently a Simpsons hit and run return was teased for D23. No fucking way. Really? There's a lot of hypes around this D23. Like Kingdom Hearts, of course. But like, I think we heard something about like Coco coming back. I'm like, Coco? I was like, I fucking love Coco. What? Some people are saying it might be a Kingdom Hearts world. I don't know. I'm honestly like, I want to care about Kingdom Hearts again. But I just can't bother right now until they show me something interesting. Like because to me, Kingdom Hearts is all about Disney, and I know there'll be Disney, but to me, like right now, I'm not gonna feel anything seeing Quadratum multiple trailers. So or Quadratum, I don't know. But I want to see Disney shit, bro. And now I'm like worried. I hope it's the good Disney shit. But the thing that I'm excited about with this whole D23 thing is that like they've been announcing stats like Kingdom Hearts as a franchise has made over $1 billion. Like. With a fucking B, really. I always liked and played a ton of Kingdom Hearts, but with a fucking B, really. I mean, I love to see it, dude. Awesome. So I feel like they're getting ready because they're like, yeah, we are the big boy franchise. We're here, and so I'm excited for them to finally start marketing that shit. But I'm also not like tuning in live because I'm just like afraid to be disappointed. So I'll catch it after the fact. Coco 1 makes people cry. Yeah, Coco is so good. Love Coco. Love Coco. Sorry, buddy, you're getting elements. That's the thing, right? Like you're getting like there's so many like are they going to do like a Lightyear world? Lightyear I haven't seen. I feel bad. I should have seen that, but like they've had some misses over the years. Or are we going back like the worlds that they go back to too? That's the thing. Like are we going back to Frozen? Frozen came so close in Kingdom Hearts 3 to like executing on the vision. That would have been, fine. Pirates of the Caribbean was easily their best world, I think, in Kingdom Hearts 3. I love Big Hero 6. That was a solid one. I do like most of the worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's just the lack of Disney bosses, bro. That would get me on the hype train. If Kingdom Hearts 4 shows up and they're like, we're doing Disney bosses. Oh my God, I'd be so fucking happy, dude. I'd be so happy. Yeah, Cars World would be sick. There's so many OGs that they haven't touched yet. It's just they need to get to it. Thanks for following for that long, Truth Seeker. I appreciate you, man. Close to 10 years. Thanks for being on this journey. Yeah, I also think just the waits between Kingdom Hearts games have been unacceptable. We were spoiled as kids, or at least when I was a kid, I should say, with Kingdom Hearts, whereas like we were getting one every fucking year, dude, and it was sick. I don't expect that, and especially with all the side stories and shit. But the wait to Kingdom Hearts 3, at least we were getting games. The wait to Kingdom Hearts 4, it's just like, what the fuck happened, dude? I don't know. Right now, Square Enix has my care with Final Fantasy VII Revelations. I hope Kingdom Hearts, though, I love Kingdom Hearts, to be clear. I don't want to be jaded about it, is all. I want them to give me a reason to be like, okay, fuck yeah, I'm in. Because Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't think is like the worst thing in the world, but it just lacks oomph. And you really feel that when you go back to like KH1 or 2, or Birth by Sleep, or 358 over 5 days, or 358 over 2 days. The one Kingdom Hearts game I like less than 3 is Dream Drop Distance. Because I hate how they level 1 Sora in that game. I fucking hate it, bro. Just so, ugh. And the worlds, dude, like Hunchback of Notre Dame. Who the fuck? What? Why? 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 Why would you do that? I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird one who's not like a big Hunchback from Notre Dame fan. I don't know. It just felt like a waste of a world. But then that's the game that had the audacity, and I mean this in a positive way. They had the audacity to flirt with the world ends with you. And that's the crossover shit that Kingdom Hearts like, we need more of that. Yeah, Mr. Bubbles, you're probably right. More Star Wars, more Marvel. I've always been pro doing one of those two. Or both. Like, I think that would be fun. Like you can't tell me the most Kingdom Hearts-ass thing wouldn't be watching Sora line up with a Keyblade next to, like, Captain America and Iron Man. That, to me, is like lining up with Buzz and Woody. Or Hercules and whatever, I'm forgetting the name of the fucking guy who's like, get up on the Hydra's back. Like, it's like that to me. I'm like, yeah. Or lining up with Anakin and Obi-Wan during like a prequel era world. Yeah, like, or Han Solo and Leia. Like, yeah, dude, I would be all like, you can't tell me you wouldn't be all over that shit. And Sora getting a Kingdom Hearts lightsaber keyblade. Why did I open that with Kingdom Hearts? He gets a keyblade that's like made like a lightsaber. Come on, dude. Like, yeah, there's so much sick shit they could do with that. I just hope the whole game isn't about it. Like, it's one Star Wars, one Marvel, and then they go into things like Pixar, like Inside Out. Inside Out? Dude. That would be so fucking awesome. I love Inside Out. I would be so happy if they did that. But I feel like they're not going to. It's just, it's too fucking popular. I'd love to see Sora contend with his emotions in this kind of lighthearted but very deep at the same time way. What a brilliant fucking movie, man. Both of them. Yeah, of course, Pooh Bear needs to come back. Yeah. Clearly, I give a fuck. I guess I should tune in. Clearly, I give a fuck. Let's watch this Rebs gaming video, because I usually don't do this on stream, but I just want to make sure if we have to consider this for my Halo slop that everything is accounted for. So
What's up, everyone?
let's give this a watch. Homer and Bart as playable party members. Yeah, dude, fucking imagine that. Like all right, here we go. Let me turn up the volume a bit.
This is Rebs, and go Birds! Over the past few years, I've had Halo developers tell me that the head of Halo Studios, Pierre Hintz, would outsource as much development as possible for future Halo projects. It turns out they were right, and I'll explain why in this report. Let's start with Campaign Evolved. The credits confirm that all areas of development were outsourced to many studios. I counted 15 studios in the credits.
That's fucking
Arrival,
crazy.
FX Chamber, Devoted, Digic, Keyword Studios, Sparasoft, and Snowden Studios, who are owned by Keyword.
I've never even heard of any of these two. That's the
Skybox Labs.
It's all different parts of the game. Like, there was Skybox literally effects. Like, they outsourced every part of this fucking game, dude, down to the Skybox.
Studios. Virtuos. Sparks, who is owned by Virtuos. Ninja Theory. Turn 10 Studios.
What?
And
What the fuck? Ninja Theory, Turn 10, and Rare. Fucking hell, dude. Oh my god.
Rare. The last studio is Abstraction, who is owned by Virtuos. In my previous video report, I revealed that Abstraction's contract with Halo Studios was terminated in the middle of development last year because of development problems, and they left Virtuos a few months later to return to independent ownership. This is why Abstraction is not directly mentioned in the credits, but their employees are listed in the special thanks section. Some of the studios that helped create Campaign Evolved were responsible for major areas of development from start to finish, including Virtuos and Abstraction. Virtuos delivered end-to-end art from world creation to characters, vehicles, and weapons. Abstraction designed and developed campaign missions from concept to blockout to polish, including scripted events and gameplay balancing. Based on all of this information,
outsourcing a game that has level design issues that you should be designing yourself is fucking insane. I said this in my old video, but like, I can't fucking believe they did that.
Obvious that Campaign Evolved was heavily outsourced, and during the same time, Halo Studios was outsourcing another new game, codenamed Project Ecker. As I've reported, it was going to be the next Halo multiplayer game before it was cancelled sometime after last summer. I spoke to a source who confirmed that Ecker's development was being outsourced more than previous Halo games.
More. Like, dude, I see a lot of the chat asking what do they do, and I think I can explain, but I just want to see if there's any new nuggets in this as well.
This story does not end with Campaign Evolved and Ecker, because there's an interesting rumor that Activision is going to develop future Halo projects. It started last month when gaming journalist and insider Jez Corden said he heard a rumor that Microsoft might have Activision develop Halo games. A few weeks later, I spoke to a source who previously sent me a bunch of Campaign Evolved information that turned out to be 100% accurate. They told me that Microsoft is exploring a proposition to have Activision help develop Halo games, which includes having Sledgehammer Games help develop
the one Call of Duty developer I don't like. This is why I said. This is why I said, dude. Hang on. This is what I just can't. I can't. It's fucking Sledgehammer, dude. Like it's like they, dude. You okay? All right. I'm not even doing this for the camera. Like I can't fucking. I just like, dude. We're talking about. Like OG Modern Warfare, like every bad Call of Duty, in my opinion, has come from Sledgehammer. Not that Treyarch has been immune or Infinity Ward has been immune, but Sledgehammer, dude, I don't know. This is what I was trying to say when people are like, "Oh, Activision." I'm like, "Oh, Activision," because it's I love how this fucking franchise continues to taunt me. Sledgehammer helping make a Halo multiplayer, dude. This was like, this was advanced warfare. Call of Duty developers, like to me, like Call of Duty multiplayer had its place in my life, and I love it for that. I don't play it obviously as often now, but like this was when I went, oh, it's terminal dog shit now. Oh man. Oh. Oh, there's more.
A Halo multiplayer game. They also said that Activision started testing a prototype for a Halo pitch in June. Apparently, it was in the blockout phase, and only basic gameplay mechanics such as player movement were tested. However, I'm told they canceled it in early July. Canceling the pitch prototype does not mean Activision won't develop Halo games. According to my source, Microsoft is still exploring the proposition, but they have not greenlit anything yet. Based on Campaign Evolved, Ecker, and the Activision prototype, it's safe to say that the majority of development for all future Halo projects will be outsourced. This could be a great decision for the Halo franchise, since outsourcing can speed up development and allows developers to create more content. However, for outsourcing to be successful, Halo Studios must learn from the mistakes they made during Campaign Evolved's development. In my last video, I revealed that Halo Studios leadership mismanaged their co-development partners, including Abstraction, which is a reason why Campaign Evolved had serious development problems and released with significant issues. These issues include technical bugs, broken AI behavior, and even inconsistent designs of the Alpha Halo ring. The ring design in the main menu, as
we're going to talk about this.
Creator Marcus Leto says, looks like a shiny new toy that's out of scale, has no mystery, and is ugly. But the design in the final cutscene is clearly different and resembles the dark, mysterious design of Alpha Halo
so
and
interesting.
Combat Evolved. This is a clear indication that co-development studios were not properly managed by Halo Studios leadership. So, there is reason to be concerned about Halo Studios outsourcing Halo's future, but at this point, Halo needs all the help it can get. So let's hope Halo Studios leadership manages outsourcing properly. And that concludes this.
I'm glad I watched. Man, that was a good warm up. I'm really fucking glad I watched beforehand because knowing that they want to bring Activision, specifically Sledgehammer Games, into the full. That definitely gives you perspective, right? Like it's clear that they just want to throw resources at this thing. Honest question: if you outsource everything, how can you ensure continuity and consistency between all the games? You can't. You can't. So a lot of people are asking, like, what does Halo Studios do in this case? Like, literally, what are they doing if they're outsourcing all these different parts? The idea is that they spend their time working and building the core of the game, and when all that's ready, they're getting like what Reb said is true. Like it's focused on content building. It's like now, okay, we're gonna get environment, like we're gonna contract someone for environment art, and we're gonna build more and more environments using like this infrastructure with like these measurements. Like all of this has been figured out and scienced out. It's been play tested. We just need pieces that are polished looking to deliver. Same with VFX. We want guns to have certain pops. We want as many weapons as possible. Like we want to really jack it up on that level. You know, okay, we have our quest building tool. How much content can we make there with that? What's our process for polishing that? That's their job to figure all of that out. But then usually you don't outsource it afterwards. You as the team now have made the tools and you build more with it. It's not that they would do nothing. They would be alongside it. But I don't know, man. There's no reason why. I don't think that Halo Campaign Evolved should have required that many fucking teams, like 10 plus outsourced developers. That's a lot, dude. I know it's industry standard. Like, yeah, there's a lot of partnerships to get formed, but that's so fucking many, dude. What they're clearly trying to set it up as is all these outsourced partners are building Halo content for them while they work on the mainline stuff. So they work on all these side things. But I don't think it's working, man. It's a managerial problem. Yeah, exactly. They couldn't. Pushing polygons is right. They couldn't get the Warthog right. Like that felt horrible with the. It felt better with the standard like analog stick based controls, but it felt horrible with the new controls that they put in. Well, that's a good setup for the Halo slop. Let's do it. Let's do it. Put some meat in my hands, will you? Thank you. All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, man, oh man. I just can't stop talking about this type of slot because I'm so passionate about this. Because there was at one point, it was, I like the term that someone used in the Matty Slop comment section. They used the word slopposite. You know, when something's not quite slop, you know, we're trying to expand the slop vocab here. And so I want to continue doing that. So Halo was a slopposite. You know, it was not slop. We had a really great era. And obviously it goes without saying, we've beaten the dead horse. It's been really rough here. But there's a few things I wanted to focus on today. One, some comments from a Halo co-creator. And I think that's valuable because there have been debates about Halo Campaign Evolved, from everything content and quality to environmental art. And I would like to hear from someone who is there on the ground level with the original Halo and how they thought the game delivered. You know, did they do things that maybe they couldn't do beforehand? Then we have new updated sales estimates. I already made a whole video talking about this, but they have new updated sales estimates that really solidify one thing, which is a heartbreaking statement, but like right now, Halo is really irrelevant and it needs help. And that brings us to our third thing, which I just learned like 5 minutes ago, which is that to get help, they're asking Activision, specifically Sledgehammer Games. Yes, Advanced Warfare, Sledgehammer, OG Modern Warfare 3, like any, to me, really bad Call of Duty, Vanguard, like all these different Call of Duties that were just super controversial, or that personally, at least for me, I did not like at all. Just happened to be this developer, and like that's the one they're tapping on the shoulder. Of course, like this just continues to spite us over and over, this franchise. So I wanted to go over all of this today to just continue to ring that bell until it's unrung by Xbox that something's got to give. I'm thinking of that Fallout, like something's got to give, something's got to give. That's where I'm at right now. Save us, please. We need to have a plan, just like we did with Fallout and Elder Scrolls for Halo. And so that's why I continue to talk about it ad nauseum, because I'm not going to relent on something I care deeply about being mistreated for this long. And not only that, but like now the damage is very apparent. And so it makes sense why they'd look at Activision, but we'll discuss that after the fact. First, I want to get into Halo co-creator Mark Leto's comments on Halo Campaign Evolved. He posted on Twitter that while the Forerunner tech was metal, not stone, it was also ancient, vast, alive, in a tomb to the horrors that lurked within. It has seen hundreds of millennia of conflict, yet the game shows it as a shiny metal that looks like it was built a few years ago. And he follows this up by saying the main menu is the most offensive thing. We see it every time we boot up the game. It should feel massive, dark, sinister, mysterious, but also full of wonder. This new ring looks like a shiny new toy, out of scale, no mystery, damn ugly. Also, for the lore, the ring in Combat Evolved resides far outside the fringe of the Milky Way galaxy, which we see in the background. It's like, and all this is going to sound like nitpicks, but like there's no more of a franchise that gets nitpicked and always has been nitpicked than Halo, because its own creators did it. It's why Halo 1 through Reach was such an incredible stretch, because they were their own biggest critics. And they didn't outsource everything, where, as someone was asking in chat earlier, like, how do you keep consistency with creative decisions being made if you're handling like 10 other studios? It's like, you don't. You get things like this where you go, okay, good enough, it's done. Like, check it off the list, instead of meaningful artistic development. Leto continued, what about war, flood outbreaks, repairs, collision? Also, the biggest issue is just with pure scale of the design. It lacks the micro detail that should give it the epic scale it deserves. Lastly, it needs to feel like an ancient tomb. Then, quote, I understand the tightening of the Forerunner aesthetic throughout the game. Admittedly, my original team was all over the place back in 2000. However, Halo Studios went too far in the wrong direction. And this is where I kind of like to settle into a conversation about Halo, is that if you've never played Halo Combat Evolved and you played Campaign Evolved, you'd probably wonder why this is a game I'm even sitting down here to debate. But the reality is that Campaign Evolved is like a death of 1,000 cuts. And in some cases, it's a pretty big slash, I feel, with like things such as the prequel missions, which aren't like god awful. But the fact that like the new thing they worked on was the worst part of the package just says so much, or the lack of multiplayer says so much about how they know their audience, or the new Marine dialogue saying like pouring out a 40 for my dead homie, like just cringe shit like that. It's like, what the fuck? Like, none of those really, to me, turned my experience upside down, but all of them added up. I'm like, what the fuck? And the visuals for me, specifically the kind of like plastic coated shine that everything's got. Halo's architecture was, yes, including metal, but it was like a stone, very monolithic, and it melded those two together so brilliantly, where this is where when you add more detail, you add more problems. Halo really benefited, I think, from lack of detail. It hasn't looked right since they started to push detail with Halo 4 and on, specifically with Forerunner tech, specifically with metals, which a lot of metal and how reflections work in Unreal Engine just feel very samey, if not tuned correctly, if not lit correctly, depending on just so many other things on how like an environment receives said light. It can feel, again, very similar from game to game. And I do think Halo Campaign Evolved just completely neuters the artistic vision of the original. But that's a personal taste thing, but it's nice to, I guess, see that someone who was there on the level of co-creating is like, yeah, look, we were a little all over the place, but like, you went too far in the wrong direction, specifically like the ring and how there was no mystery. And I mean, you can again see the comparison between the original and the new one. Like, there's just no, again, more detail, yes, but it's just, there's no mystery. It's just, it's not good. And these just keep cropping up over time. Like, notice how we're past things like sprinting, aiming down sights. That was like Halo 5 time, where it was already a disaster. Like, here we are now. That's why we just keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So there's that element. Then there's the sales, which we've already talked about before. This comes from Reese Elliott of Alinea Analytics, who does great estimates. Yes, it doesn't mean that it's exactly on the nose, but they're definitely very much providing useful data that we otherwise do not get. The best we'll get from Xbox is a player count. So what does Alinea Analytics say about Halo sales, by the way, which companies do pay for to use for their own operations? He says Halo Campaign Evolved has sold 1.2 million copies, generating $67 million in revenue, according to estimates. And I mean, like, that says everything. I could stop reading there. There's a lot to get into here on Alinea's analysis. But 1.2 million copies sold. Dude, we're talking about Halo. And that number alone says so much about the lack of appeal, the amount of brand damage, and how this has also failed to capture a new generation of first-person shooting fans. And everyone looks and goes, oh, you need your Fortnite. You need your... It's like, no, just Halo needs to be fucking good. And it needs multiplayer. But let's continue reading. That's roughly split between 42% on Xbox, including console and PC, with Game Pass upsells, and 41% on PlayStation, and then 17% on Steam. Like most, though no longer all, Xbox first-party games, Halo launched straight into Game Pass, and about 2.1 million players jumped in via their subscription across console and PC, with a little under 600K forking out the extra $20 for the premium pass to play up to 5 days early, which cannibalized sales. So yeah, there you have it. Like, Game Pass continues to chew up their games and their margins, where this is another one that we don't know if the extra sales would have done much here for the numbers with Halo. Because again, when you look at the PlayStation sales, I think Xbox no doubt expected more there, and definitely didn't make up the difference on the Game Pass side of things. So I think this is just a simply put, low appeal product. He says, needless to say, that's a soft performance for a ground-up remake of one of the most iconic console shooters, nay, one of the most iconic shooters, full stop. So why the tepid numbers? Steam is the easiest to explain. Halo, the Master Chief Collection, a compilation of the core Halo games with multiplayer included, is on Steam for $40. Cheaper than Campaign Evolved's $50 for just the campaign, plus a few bonus missions and visual polish. MCC has regularly dipped to $10 in the past, though not for almost 4 months now. No doubt a deliberate move to prop up Campaign Evolved's pretty slim value proposition, and it didn't work. Our Steam review sentiment analysis nails 3 points. 1, the price is too high for a port like this one, and the Halo brand, candidly, has lost a lot of cachet. He also talks a bit about his thoughts on Infinite. The value proposition is too low, with no competitive multiplayer and the bonus missions being unpolished. And 3, a lot of Steam users already own MCC. 8.5 million copies sold on Steam as per our estimates, which offers more content for less. And this was the main question mark going into a remake of Halo 1. We've already seen it remastered twice, technically. You had Anniversary Edition in early 2010s, I think 2011, I want to say, 2010 or 2011. And then you got Master Chief Collection on the Xbox One, which was busted at launch, but it did include Halo Anniversary Edition. So that was another time you had an opportunity to buy that product in this complete collection, which they updated for years and added more and more to it. You know, here's Reach, here's ODST, right? They really did a good job with recovering that product. But that gave a lot of people chances to look back at that game over and over and over as the years went on. And then they went to sell it again, right? Like, here we are now with another remake, and it's got less content than the original. It's just not going to fly, man. So I think, again, this is one of those things where it was a low value proposition where you already had MCC, and the plan was probably some sort of self-admittance of, we, when it comes to Halo, have not made something that's appealed on a broad level outside of Infinite, which was its own type of disaster. You know, it found 20 plus million players, and I'm not going to poo-poo that. We don't know how many of that turned into sales, though, because we're talking about a free-to-play multiplayer game. But Halo Infinite did capture the masses briefly and then crashed and burned shortly thereafter because of a lack of preparation. But otherwise, between Anniversary Edition, 4, 5, Master Chief Collection's launch even, it's easy to forget now, but it's been a pretty disastrous road. But we're here now where it's like there's been all these different moments of damage to the brand. And also there were times that you shipped Halo games with more content, and we're looking at another new one. It's like you've just had to accept, well, we're not shipping games that people really deeply care about, so we need to give them something we know they'll buy. And this has to be probably the scariest set of numbers, because there might be a level of saying, oh, Bungie's still floating around, like it's got some mind share where we're not really cracking through with Halo the way we used to. But we'll give them the old Halo that they love. And when we do that, they'll buy it. And then they didn't. And that sends a scary message about the relevance of your brand, right? So here are some numbers. Campaign Evolved sold about 544K copies on PlayStation for $32 million, a touch under the Xbox console and Windows figure minus the deluxe edition upsells reported last week. Despite PS5's larger install base, the high price was likely a factor again. But the bigger truth is that the Xbox faithful were simply more primed for this than PlayStation owners were. That said, plenty of PS5 players jumped in for a novelty and nostalgia hit. It makes sense, as plenty of 360 owners in the West defected to PS4 after the botched Xbox One launch. There's a cohort of PlayStation players, roughly 32 to 40 years old, who grew up on Halo and never forgot it. And you can see them in the audience overlap. And it's here that he points out the top 10 SKUs that kind of lean into where these players are overlapping, as in they looked at data for players who had Campaign Evolved and what other games they overlap the most with. And there are games like Gears of War Reloaded, Doom the Dark Ages, Black Flag Resynced, Oblivion Remastered, Battlefront Classic Collection, and then Snake Eater. And what he's pointing out here is that shooters, remakes, legacy-leaning titles, this is the audience it captured. So what does this data actually communicate with the 1.2 million sales is actually a far more grim picture than you can imagine, because it's not just, oh, it did bad, game bad. That's a very simple look at it. But with this information in hand and seeing particular audience overlaps, what we're learning here is that Halo cannot capture beyond nostalgia. And even for those, like the shrinking pool of nostalgia is just over 1 million for a classic game getting remade. And I'm of the mindset, though, that with the quality then, even if this included multiplayer, it would have its issues where I think you could have argued maybe it pushed 2 million. But this is a very, very soft performance and tells you a lot about the brand. It is, I don't want to say dead because people still care. To me, dead is when I stop caring. When I say I stop caring, I mean, like, I'm not here making videos. Like, I just don't give a fuck. So I wouldn't say dead in a lot of ways, but like relevance wise, dead. Trying to capture a new upcoming audience, dead. And the brand is dying. Between the show, the games, the book, it can only take so much. Any brand is like this. Star Wars had this issue. Marvel has a fatigue problem, a quality issue. Like, this happens with a lot of brands. No brand can withstand this much damage over time, let alone a gaming-centric brand where it's a small industry and like you have the hardcore community that's like all word of mouth, basically what I like to call gatekeepers. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that like we kind of get people in. We're like, hey, Baldur's Gate 3 is fire. Get in here. Like, yeah, I know it doesn't look like your usual game. It's fire. Get in here. And we don't shut up about it. And that gets the masses in. So Halo can't even capture that. It's in a really bad spot, man, and they need to figure it out. So the question is, what is Xbox going to do with all of this? How are they going to figure this out? And of course, our man, Rebs Gaming, has the report. He says on his YouTube channel, Halo's future is outsourcing. And it's, as always, a really great video that we did watch here live on stream. We had to, I felt bad. We had to break our rule because I was about to do some Matty slop on Halo, and someone in chat wrote, like, there's a new Rebs report. I'm like, okay, that's huge context because this man has been ironclad with his Halo reports. So the new information is what you just saw on screen. Reb says, I spoke to a source who previously sent me a bunch of Campaign Evolved information that turned out to be 100% accurate. They told me that Microsoft is exploring a proposition to have Activision develop Halo games, which includes having Sledgehammer Games help develop a multiplayer Halo video game. Oh boy. We're here now, man. This is it. This is the moment we've been wondering if it would happen. So the other thing that was mentioned here is also that there was an Activision game being prototyped at one point. He wrote here, they also said that Activision started testing a prototype for a Halo pitch in June. Apparently, it was in the blockout phase and only basic gameplay mechanics such as player movement were tested. However, I'm told they canceled it in early July. So very, very short lifespan for that. But it's clear, if these rumors are to be believed, Xbox is not relenting on giving up their resources over to Halo. In fact, they're looking to commit one of their big three Call of Duty developers to this franchise. And I will say this, that's some serious fucking belief based on everything we've seen numbers-wise and conversation-wise for this franchise. I mean, you can literally see, let me move my camera here. In a relevant video, I'm so bad with OBS. Here we are. You can literally see recent video posted, Halo Studios is a disaster. Like, it's just a constant conversation about how abysmal dog shit things are for this franchise. So now we're throwing Big Daddy Activision at it. And I don't know what this means for Call of Duty, where you destabilize that operation. Like, okay, you need every dev there. That's money. That's also just like a workshop that's been functioning like this for years and years. You've got Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and you've got support studios like Raven and Beanox, and they've all handled different divisions of Call of Duty, like within each game's release. So you're going to send Sledgehammer over to develop a multiplayer title. And here's why this sounds fucking awful too. Is Sledgehammer, in my opinion, has made the worst multiplayer Call of Duties. The one I played the most from them was Call of Duty World War II. And it's because I'm that sicko who loved Call of Duty World at War while everyone was playing COD 4. Like, I remember that in my middle school days. Like, everyone was on COD 4 all the time. They loved Modern Warfare. I love history-wise World War II, and I thought Call of Duty World at War was so great, man. I loved the weapons. I loved zombies. I loved replaying the campaign. And the gore, even like the game where if you took out the Browning, like the LMG, and if you shot them in just the right part, their legs would blow off and shit. Like, the game was so gritty. I just remember even the play-by-play commentator, the DLC for the zombie maps, the DLC for the multiplayer maps. I loved World at War. So when I saw them go back to kind of boots on the ground, World War II style Call of Duty, I was for it. And it's all right. It's fine. It was just very simple COD. It was definitely outside of that and Black Ops 4. Those are the last two CODs I played a lot of. But otherwise, Sledgehammer has done like real misses. Like, here, let's have some fun here. Let's bring up a list of Call of Duty games by Sledgehammer, because I think it's, at least for me, says a lot. So what we've got here is Modern Warfare 3, co-developed with Infinity Ward. And yeah, dude, like that alone, I hated this game. When I was in my peak COD phase, that was the one I was like, I don't like this at all. I thought it felt terrible. I thought it sounded terrible. I didn't like the campaign. There was just a lot wrong with that game. Advanced Warfare. This was their, it says here, according to AI overview. I don't know for sure, so I won't lean into it too much. But Advanced Warfare was the game with exosuits and movement. Like, Call of Duty was already a Twitch reaction shooter. Like, you always had to be quick. And this game with like boost jumping, wall running. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. It was awful. I mean, this game, the only people I know who love Advanced Warfare are the ones who grew up with it. And maybe that's why I was just glazing World at War. So maybe that's the thing here. It's just a generational thing. But for me, as someone who is a Call of Duty fan, like, I did not miss COD at this point. Like, I was still on the annual train. Advanced Warfare, though, that and Ghosts. I know Ghosts has had a lot of love, though, so I don't want to speak too harshly about Ghosts. But, like, dude, Advanced Warfare, fuck no. As you see here, oops, wrong one. World War II, thought that was fine. Vanguard, nope. And then MW3, which was a literal repackaged DLC. Now, people have been very positive about this multiplayer here. But the thing I say is that the best thing they delivered was repackaged maps that we already knew were good. Why? Because they were the maps that were released with, 2008's MW2. They already, like, the good maps were made back then by much more talented developers. And so I don't look at this fucking list here and go, that's my Halo developer right there. Now, I would obviously love for them to show up and show out. But I don't know, man. This is not my ideal alternative. But as I said many times before, you know what? I know all that sounded very close-minded, but you know what? I'll give it a shot. It can't be worse than what we got now, right? It can't be worse. I hope not. Like, I hope there isn't a new bottom that I don't know about. The question is, okay, you're working on Call of Duty. How do you translate that feel of Halo into your work, your pipeline? How do you do that? You might hear my dog howling right now. He's very sad about Call of Duty. My wife and I, we always howl with our dog, and so I hear her right now upstairs howling with him. Anyway, that's the state of Halo, man. And the truth is out that it's not as relevant, and that might be why they're turning to Activision. It's like, you guys make a really relevant first-person shooter. Can you help this one out? And dude, think about when we were kids, right? Like when we were younger and we were playing Call of Duty, like when I'm talking about, it was Call of Duty 1, Finest Hour, Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1. Like when we were playing those games and then we were playing Halo as well, did you ever see a world where like that developer would overlap into that like Halo franchise? To me, it's unfucking imaginable. So I don't know, man. Like that's where we're at. So to me, I'm going to stay open-minded. It's like, yeah, when I see that name on the list, I'm like, yeah, Sledgehammer. Well, okay. Give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Sure. Why not? It's all about the feel. Are we at this point now where the most we can do is a multiplayer only Halo game, or are we going to like continue to do, like Gears is doing it. Coalition has it figured out. Here's your campaign. Here's your horde mode. Here's your multiplayer, like the full theater, the full suite. Can Halo get that anymore nowadays? Because one thing Reb said here was, again, that they were included to develop a multiplayer game. Not even like a campaign. I don't know, man. I don't know. Halo, please figure it out, though. I want to love you again, man. I want to love you again. This is all harsh, I know, but it comes from a place of love, truly. Oh, chat, please give me some positivity here. Give me something to love on. I need to know how y'all are feeling. I need something. Let me get this up to Sir Emmett. I miss Medal of Honor so bad, bro. Yo, Medal of Honor, dude. I found out when I was going through the PS3 store when they announced the shutdown. I was like making a list of games that I want to eventually buy. And they did a Medal of Honor, I think it was Frontline remaster. And I had no idea they did that. Digital only. I don't know if they did Rising Sun. Medal of Honor Rising Sun remaster? Did they do that? There's no remaster for it. So they only did Frontline remaster, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so interesting. Jesus, choked on my spit. Interesting. Reddit says it's a direct sequel to the PS1 games. Medal of Honor on PSP was awesome. Yeah, I think I just got rid of those games. Let's see here. Yeah. Because they control a little weird. What do we got here? Toner, sorry I missed your super chat. Maddie, off topic, just want to say I've enjoyed your energy with Elder Scrolls Deep Dive video. It seems like it is lit a fire. Keep up that energy as it makes me hyped. Also feeling your energy. Thank you. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with like the types of content we're doing here. Mega Man X4 shats over classic Mega Man. Cope, Maddie. I mean, I'm an X fan, dude. I'm an X fan. Why are you telling me to cope? I love X. Medal of Honor Airborne was really fun as a kid. I don't know if it holds up now. It's got really weird controls, but I think the game still got some good atmosphere to it for sure. I miss those days. It was the same way like sports games just got like a bunch of random releases from everyone. Like first-person shooters were just all the rave. They were everywhere. Heroic Leonardo, thanks for becoming a member, dude. Appreciate you. Those original Medal of Honors were Zampella. Oh, really? No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Of course it was. Naturally. Well, if Activision doesn't outsource it to 15 different studios, it surely can't be worse than Campaign Evolved, can it? It's true, yeah. I mean, Activision's got probably their own outsourced pipeline. So there's that. Crazy, dude. Yeah. I think I'm going to record the last slop offline because it's 8, and I still have to record my Mr. Matty video that's going to go out tomorrow. So I have to get everything ready for that still so I can get that to Dan in a timely manner. And I'll eat some dinner after that. Never got Gun 2 from Activision. Gun was by Activision? Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Holy shit. Neversoft as well? Really? I didn't know that. Wow. It's crazy. I didn't know that was them. Meet in advance. Thank you, guys. Thank you again, Maddie, for your big disc energy. Cheers. My pleasure, Keto. Thank you. All right, let me bounce, guys. I'm gonna go get some. I'm gonna get some food. I'm gonna record something for the main channel here so that y'all are served tomorrow. I can't do it tomorrow because I'm gonna be out all day tomorrow. So I got an early night ahead of me. So let me jump out. But I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out here. At least we got 2 slops done. I think I ran my mouth for too long, as one does. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out. And so we'll be back next Tuesday. I think next week. Let me check my calendar. Next week will be the last week of streams because then I will be gone for 2 weeks after that because I'll be traveling. So just a heads up on that. So be sure to tune in and catch the slop while you can. Thanks, guys, for being here, though. And love you all. Mwah.